Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast. My name is Ezra, and I'm joined by Caleb, Sawyer, and Tyler, our new special guest this week.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, could you introduce yourself for us a little bit? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh yeah, how's it going, guys? My name's Tyler Fugit. I also go to Bowling Green, and you know what? I'm 22 at the moment, and I'm just honestly excited to be on here. I'm a theater major, so who knows what the fuck my future will hold. I have no goddamn idea. I mean, I've always had a passion for theater and film, but it's incredible because talking to you guys, it turns out I know fucking nothing compared to you guys.
That's all right. I'm in the same boat.
I'm like, oh shit, I know 2.5 things, but yeah, no, I'm very excited to be on here. I know more about movies than TV shows. I keep up more with the movie scene than TV.
You've had a busy week. You had your Elsewhere this week, and then you got your film premiere tomorrow.
Oh yeah, see, it's really weird. There's like some things. I was looking at my resume the other day, and I am shocked at the amount of things I did. The college has just been a blur. Anybody that says the college, like, oh, it's the best 4 years of your life, man. You'll never forget it. I've forgotten 98% of it, and I've been here for 4.5 years, and I'm ready just to be out. Because the sole fact I was looking at my resume, and there's just so much shit that it was until I looked at the name of what I've been, and I'm like, I barely remember doing that. It really was like I was just in a drunken stupor my whole time. I finally found Jesus. But
like, oh wait, I did that?
Like, oh shit, like I was in a play. Like somebody trusted me enough to be a part of that, and I barely remember it. Oh, good memories, huh? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, the film premiere tomorrow, Journey to Eden, directed by Thomas Moger, and it's gonna be damn good.
When and where can they see it?
Oh, well, you can see it in the Bowen Thompson Student Union. You can see it at 8 o'clock. p.m. on December 7th, and
that's tomorrow as of recording.
So by the time this goes up, it'll probably be the day of.
Yeah, but it'll be in the Bowen Thompson Student Union, and it's really good because I mean the amount of settings that they recorded in. I've been in a couple different short films. I have never experienced that much work put into like where we filmed and where we're filming at. It was on this gigantic abandoned lot, and there was this humongous Uniroyal like abandoned factory. It looked like a movie would be filmed there about a serial killer that awakens every 15 years. And I remember like being in there, and every single day, because I would have to be waiting around in Lake Erie for a bit, and I would have to be covered in sand and muck. Every night I came back home, I was covered in bug bites and places I was not happy that bugs were there. And I was covered in dirt. And to be honest with you, I was pissed off every single day after recording it. Even though it was a really fun shoot during it, I think I honestly was just like, I was so dirty by the end of every day. I was covered in algae. I was covered in bugs. There was one point there were ants crawling up me. My boots at the end of it were just like, they were filled with these like little bugs, and I didn't know what they were because I was standing in Lake Erie for a long period of time. Oh yeah, I'm shocked I did not get like a venereal disease. And there was like, I remember before we were recording in Lake Erie, they're like, hey guys, don't drink the water at all. And I was like halfway in the water. These other two guys were in the water thrashing and fighting each other. And again, the full dedication of the film. I mean, I was shocked that they had a post-apocalyptic film that required so much money and time. Because a lot of times the short films here are just, a lot of times they are like, oh, guys, we're in college, just try not to rack up too much debt. But they went
for it. Yeah.
At least what I could see, they spared no expense, so I have full respect. So I'm going along with the way of saying
it looks really good.
No, I appreciate it, and I'm very excited to see that tomorrow.
Go check it out.
Definitely.
And it'll probably be on YouTube eventually, I would imagine.
I would imagine. I think he may try to sanction it out to a couple of film festivals, and then after that, put it on YouTube.
Probably more likely Vimeo, but
it's a bit higher.
Somewhere public, you will be able to watch it. That's Journey to Eden,
directed by Thomas Moger.
A
fellow lab employee.
Yes. Although I am no longer a lab employee.
Oh yeah, and Amad's not here, so I'm the only one who's.
What is your major?
I'm a film major.
I
used to work in the film lab with them.
Okay.
That's how I met everybody here for the lab. So,
as you said, no Ahmad this week, but we will be recording next week.
Oh yeah, and it'll be an early episode.
It'll be a day early on
2 days
Thursday.
Early.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Depending on when you upload it.
It depends on when we
a
upload.
day-
We're recording it 2 days early.
two a day early. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, and we're going to do our 2019 in review that day. So be excited for that. Please be excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I got opinions about 2019. But I got
strictly entertainment in review. We're not.
we're not talking about. Okay.
Just the whole year, no entertainment, just the year. So we have a very beefy news week.
Oh yeah.
I guess news 2 weeks actually.
Yeah, this is everything I compiled from the last episode to now,
which is a lot as it happens. So let's get started with John Turturro cast as Carmine.
That's
Love
pretty cool. Yeah, so this is for the Batman. John Turturro cast as Carmine Falcone.
Oh shit!
One of the typical mob bosses seen in Batman films. I think that's good casting. That's really all I had to say. I just saw that it was like. The cast of this movie keeps getting better and better. Yeah.
Batman Watch 2019. The cast is good.
It's written by Matthew Reeves. Who did you guys see the new Planet of the Apes?
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I
wanted
think this
to
is going to be a good project.
This is going to be just transformative because I was a huge Batman fan in high school and I've kind of just fallen out of it, but I still enjoy it. Right. And definitely, War for the Planet of the Apes is one of my top 10 films of all time, and not just in terms of science fiction or this and that. I have never been so blown away by a film that utilized CGI in such a fantastic way. Because it wasn't one of those movies we're just going to throw a bunch of CGI and motion capture. Yeah. I have never seen a movie that has done so well to the point where I'm like, God, those look like they just got a couple actual fucking monkeys. And
just throw them on screen. Yeah.
I would say Dawn I would replace War with Dawn in my top of that trilogy.
Absolutely.
But I agree. Matt Reeves, Rise of the Planet of the Apes is a good movie, but the other two far outstrip it in terms of quality, and the way he works with a darker, serious tone is really effective. I'm getting a weird call, so I think the Batman is in good hands.
I just hope they don't try and just repeat the Dark Knight trilogy. I want it to have its own identity.
Well, I'm really excited for them to actually use other villains because we all like the Joker, obviously, but I'm happy they're actually utilizing villains that not many people have. They're using Hush and everything. I think that's what I liked about The Dark Knight Rises. Obviously, the movie had a shitload of problems, but I think it was good they used Bane, who is a semi-recent villain. He came out in 1989, I think, or something like that. Don't quote me on that.
And I think they're using. So we got Falcone. We got. I suppose there's a rumor of the Riddler popping up.
So Riddler, Penguin,
from what I've heard, a potential that it's really just going to be kind of like Arkham Origins, where it's just him one night and just all these different villains.
I would love that. I love that story.
Well, have you guys ever read the comic Batman: Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on a Serious Earth?
I played the game. I haven't read the comic.
Oh yeah, A Serious House on a Serious Earth. If you guys have not checked out that comic, I'm a semi-avid comic reader as much as I can be. As shitty as that sounds, but I really A Serious House on a Serious Earth. It was drawn by. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name. Sam Keene. I could be so wrong on that name, but he also illustrated this comic called The Max, and he utilizes a bunch of different art forms in the sense he'll use painting, he'll use stop motion figures, he'll use all these different kinds of things that pop up on the comic book screen, and it's Batman just going all the way through Arkham Asylum in one night, and he draws Joker he's this big paint splat, and then at one point Batman just walks into a room. And it's Clayface in the corner. He's like, my skin is sick, Batman. And he's coming after him, and then Batman's stay away from me. Batman's fucking crazy in that comic. Because he just it's not like an Arkham Asylum where he's just I want to help you, but you have to help yourself first. It's not like that. He's he's trapped in the asylum, and Joker's you have 1 hour, and then after that hour, we're all going to come after you. And they even have Maxie Zeus, who's has all these electricity rods jammed inside of him, and he's just he goes Batman, oh, come here, Pilgrim, and he's just fucking, and he hands Batman a barrel of shit. It is the weirdest comic, but it is.
I need to check that out.
If they utilize that kind of tone for this movie, where it's just almost a horror movie, horror thriller, but using the Batman universe, and don't even get me started on how how excited I am to see Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah.
I know people are pissed, but he is.
I think he could do really good.
Oh yeah,
especially as Bruce Wayne. I think he could
fantastic.
really.
Yeah, I agree. In more DC news, Black Adam movie to feature the JSA.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is we didn't even mention
the
Black Adam movie is actually happening 2021, starring Dwayne Johnson.
That I did know.
And it's starring. Apparently, from I don't know who tweeted it. Somehow the information came out that the JSA is going to be involved somewhat in the plot.
That's interesting. I don't know how that. I don't because I know.
If you don't know, the JSA is the Justice Society of America, which
it's different than the Justice League of America.
In the comics, it was actually it came before the Justice League, and in the new universe, it's sort of like the old heroes were the JSA, and then the Justice League is the new
heroes nobody's heard of.
Well,
unless you're a comic fan.
I think that's interesting though because this. I'll try to save this conversation for my topic, but it's interesting because it's actually more for news. Is that they were. HBO was for HBO Max was trying to develop a Stargirl series.
No, it's DC Universe, isn't it? I thought there's one coming.
Yeah,
DC Universe.
DC Universe is going to be HBO Max.
Yeah, sorry.
So, the meaning it would be
it'll be roll over.
But there was conflicts with that, and I guess now it might be on the CW now.
Interesting.
So I'm hearing more and more reports about that. I can't really confirm it though.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that we're getting kind of like a reboot of the JSA with the CW verse, if that's the case, and then also now the JSA being introduced in Black Adam. It's like two at once, and we all know about the Warner Brothers whole rule about the TV coinciding with the movies and how much of a conflict that's been. But
the only one they ever approved on that, I believe, is Flash. Is the only character.
Yeah,
Flash and now Superman. Just because.
Well, and technically Batman, but as a supporting character, I guess.
Yeah. Well, see, with me, it's like I
will get to that.
I'm really scared for Black Adam in the sense I'm really scared in the sense because I love Dwayne Johnson. I'm pretty sure I have a fucking blood pact with him, and I got to see his movies. But my thing is that I'm scared they're going to do the kind of Maleficent route. They're like, this usual evil villain is like, but in the right light, they're good. Because I know Dwayne Johnson always plays the hero, and of course, because he's fucking great at doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm just so scared because he does. If you look at the comic incarnations of Black Adam, and you look at Dwayne Johnson, you're like, that's fucking near perfect casting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm just scared because. I just don't want them to make him good. If they make a movie about a villain, I feel like that'll be revolutionary.
From what I've heard, it's more kind of like an anti-hero sort of thing, where it's
it's not going to have Shazam in it.
He's edgy Shazam is basically what's going to be the idea. Which
it's so different than what Black Adam is in terms of.
See, but and Dwayne Johnson's actually a really great casting for an evil Black Adam. But
I do think
we haven't seen any footage. We don't know what's gonna. We don't know what the script is like.
And after the success of Joker, that could change because now they know that a movie like that can work. So maybe we do end up getting.
Yeah. With me, it's I did like Shazam. I wasn't all over it, but I did like it. I liked Shazam when I was in high school, and I remember the fact that they added Mr. Mind at the end. I was so happy because they're actually DC was doing this whole thing no, it has to be realistic, it has to be serious, and they're like. No, fucking Shazam fights a worm that takes over people's minds. And I'm like, good, they utilized that. That's so good.
Yeah.
My thing is they even did the whole thing where Dr. Savannah, is that his name?
I think so.
Yeah, because in the comics he'll do this weird fucking thing that makes no goddamn sense where he'll just write out a math equation and then go through a wall. Yeah. And I was like, that's okay. That's how math works. But then they almost utilize that in the movie in this very genius way. And I'm like, damn, DC, shit, you guys are whipping out the big dick right here. But that's my thing. Is I'm so scared because it seems like they're really going a good route at the moment. I'm like, guys, don't veer off this path.
Yeah.
But then again, they may blow me away because when I heard the Joker origin movie, I thought that was going to be the stupidest movie of all time, and I I have some problems with it, but I did enjoy it.
I think DC is starting to figure out where like it doesn't all have to be interconnected. You've got your interconnected universe, but you can also do these one-offs.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know where the Batman is going to fit into that, but
Yeah, that's it.
Who knows? Because
and we'll get into this later. But I believe I guess we can skip ahead to this one and then go back.
Yeah. Ezra Miller is still the Flash.
Is apparently still the Flash, and that the script is moving forward. That means I think personally it's going to end up being Flashpoint. They'll use that as a way to like get a clean slate.
Yeah,
I think it's a little too early to do Flashpoint, but it's the only way that DC can really fix itself.
Yeah, I think if you do Flashpoint, you have a very effective way of just like you said, wiping the slate clean, and you don't have to worry about everything that came before, because maybe it still kind of happened, but.
And that allows you to replace Ben Affleck with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, and the same thing. Like Henry Cavill says, he's still Superman.
Hopefully,
moving on to Paramount.
Oh yeah, this was I thought was kind of interesting.
Star Trek 4 is back in production.
It is.
Oh, cool.
And I think they got Chris Pine.
Which I'm excited.
Who's producing it still?
No idea.
I don't know. We don't know the creative team behind it. We just know that most of the core cast is back and
greenlit.
It's greenlit to like actually moving forward.
Viacom
is cool.
Oh, sorry, I'm interrupted. Viacom just had a merger with CBS, and CBS has All Access that has Star Trek Discovery. Is that what it's called?
Discovery, and they got Picard now too.
Yeah, and see, I think they even Nickelodeon on its slate of like shows they're getting an animated Star Trek sitcom kind of thing going on Nickelodeon, and then on CBS All Access, like one of the writers of Rick and Morty is making a Star Trek comedy animated series on CBS All
That
Access.
one actually is interesting. I believe, I don't know which one it is, if it's the Nickelodeon one or it's the Rick and Morty one, but there's one where it's called like Lower Decks, and it's about the crew on like the engineering deck that nobody pays attention to.
I have enjoyed. See, I think that's my thing is I have enjoyed Star Trek. I mean, I watched it a lot. Like, again, there's a lot of shit I watched in high school. I don't know what happened to me, but I liked it a lot in high school.
Yeah. There's a lot with Star Trek that's going on now because we've got Star Trek 4, the Picard show, Discovery's still on the air. Yeah. Supposedly they're making like a prequel about Khan's time on I can't remember the name of that planet for some reason.
Whatever planet.
But between Space Seed and Wrath of Khan.
Yeah. Which is pretty wild.
There's so many things they've got in the pipeline for Star Trek, and it's kind of like Star Trek's kind of getting a revival as much, because for the past couple of years it's just been, we get the JJ verse and that's it. Yeah. Now we're getting a lot more. Yeah. So we'll see.
Whoever said Star Trek is dead. And then there. Justice.
Just kidding.
Justice Department files motion to do away with Paramount Degree.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. We don't have to talk much about that, but for those of you who are,
was it?
Okay, so the Paramount Decree was what got rid of the vertical integration, which is where movie studios, especially Paramount, owned them. Basically, they produced and distribution of it. So you would make a Paramount movie, and it would only be played in Paramount theaters or something like that. Like Paramount would own the chain. Yeah. So apparently, the reason why they're trying to get rid of that now, I believe, is streaming, because if Disney owns the movie, Disney distributes it on their platform. Yeah. The fact that like distribution looks different now than it did in 1948. Yeah. But
we'll
I think it's tricky, and I'm not as much of a lawyer to figure out what that means.
The problem with vertical integration is that it bottlenecks movie theaters into showing like these few things, and you like if you buy movies from one company, you can't show movies from another, which is not necessarily ideal if you're a movie theater, because Disney doesn't have like big blockbuster movies coming out all the time.
Well, and a lot of people don't even think about this. Like, back in the 40s, Warner Brothers had entire chains. Like, you can see pictures online in, like, old LA where it's just the Warner Brothers theater with the Warner Brothers logo.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll keep this brief, but kind of, like, my thoughts on it is just more of, like, keep it in place, but I think the definitions towards the streaming service, streaming services need to get redefined for...
That's
this type of distribution.
I agree. The problem with removing the Paramount decree is like with I would say streaming services probably fall under more of like an FCC umbrella, whereas the Paramount decree, by my understanding, is just regulating movie theaters. and like distribution to movie theaters. Which if you wanted to update it for nowadays, that's fine. But you have to. I don't know if you can get away with updating it for streaming services.
Right.
And what makes that dangerous is after with Disney just getting Fox and Paramount kind of being in a little bit of a shaky position, there are far less in terms of distributors now than there were. Then. Like we've really only got Sony, Disney, Warner, and Universal. Really,
the problem is that there are sort of both far less and far more movies trying to get into theaters now. So if this gets removed, who's to say that Disney can't just eventually choke out the indie market?
This could hurt the indie market.
Yeah, which is I'm not the biggest indie lover, but I don't want indie filmmakers to stop making movies.
That's also where a lot of the good talent comes from.
Yeah, I'm so scared that when Disney bought 20th Century Fox, I was a bit bummed out. But then I was thinking the most thing I was bummed out about was Fox Searchlight Pictures being bought by Disney. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, and I think Disney still holds on to Fox Searchlight because, they've made so many movies that have made, I think Juno was made on a budget of $6 million, and they made $250-something million back. So they're okay. But then it's I'm just so scared by it. Even though Disney's like, oh, it's okay. I like Disney, but I don't trust them at all. They're just a shady ass company, and I'm scared for what they're going to do.
That's the thing with Disney is I like Disney a lot, but they're one of those ones you got to keep an eye on.
Disney's the friend who's really cool. But if you're drunk in the city, they'll leave you. And you know that. So you're like, oh man, they're fucking awesome.
That's an excellent example. They're the cool drunk guy that you love, and who buys all your stuff.
But he'll ditch
you in the city drunk.
And you're like fucking Disney. You just left me out there to die. He's just like, well. Hey man, I'm sorry. You want a sundae, and you're like, well, Sunday does sound pretty good. And then you
got Star Wars. You want Star Wars?
Hey man, you want this Kermit the Frog shaped ice cream cone? I'm like, oh no, Disney, you know what? I win you back every time, you stupid motherfucker.
That's the perfect.
Yeah, I think. Basically, long story short, on the Paramount decree is that this could be interesting. I don't even know if it'll end up even happening. It's just the Justice Department was like, hey, do we still need this? And I was like, why are we looking into this? But we'll see. Yeah. Keep an eye on that. And if you want more information, just look up the Paramount decree of 1948.
So it's a super interesting sort of piece of film history.
Oh, for sure.
Which changed a lot of film history, too.
Yes, it did. Cryptic Game of Thrones tweet. I want to just run through that real quick.
Long story short,
winter is coming.
You got this, Caleb.
Winter is coming. That's it.
They tweeted that, and everyone was like, "Wait, are we getting something new? Are we getting something cool?" Because they just said winter is coming, and then everyone was like, "Nope, it's just marketing." The box set is coming out.
That's funny.
The box set does look pretty nice.
I'm gonna read this as originally written. I know what this is supposed to say, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Palestine wasn't original plan for episode 9.
Oh, no, it's not supposed to be that. Palpatine.
Palpatine wasn't originally planned for episode 9. When I read that, I was like, why are we talking about Palestine?
Nice. And now the show is blocked in several countries.
Yes. This is bad.
Yeah, I think it's interesting for Palpatine that that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
From what Colin Trevorrow said when he was still originally doing episode 9, they weren't...
Happy he isn't doing that.
Oh, me too. But I think now that J.J. Abrams came out and Kathleen Kennedy said, he was always the plan. I don't trust Kathleen Kennedy at all. But J.J., he basically said he was always my plan. So J.J. didn't go against Kathleen Kennedy, but he didn't go with Trevorrow either. He said he was always part of my plan.
Interesting.
So J.J. is one of those ones where I think he's a Star Wars fan and he wants to do right, but he's caught between having to listen to Kathleen Kennedy and also doing his own thing.
Right.
He is a discount Phil Lord or Chris Miller.
We'll see.
We'll see depending on how episode 9 goes.
JJ's that one director who hasn't pissed off Kathleen Kennedy, because if you look at the history, JJ's the only one who's really had no issues, because Rian Johnson, we don't even know if his trilogy is still happening.
Yeah.
Gareth Edwards, he wasn't always in control of Rogue One when they did the reshoots. I don't believe he was part of that. There's plenty more history to look there, but I think JJ, when he said that he was writing the whole trilogy, because he did an outline after Force Awakens, and he had said that Palpatine was originally in his outline,
Okay.
And nothing that Rian Johnson did really made the core ideas of what he wanted to wrap up in Rise of Skywalker impossible. So it's just going to be interesting that JJ starts and ends, but he didn't have control of the middle, so it's going to feel really disjointed.
The Last Jedi is a very different movie from Force Awakens. So.
And when we see Rise of Skywalker, I think that difference is going to be even more noticeable, because Rise of Skywalker clearly looks a lot like, in terms of tone, The Force Awakens.
Yeah, it does. So, 2003 Watchmen test footage.
This I thought was really cool. This was just a cool thing that in this week's Sawyer Finds Something Cool corner. David Hayter, voice of Solid Snake, tweeted this out where it was apparently, I think he
wrote Watchmen, right?
He wrote like a draft or a screenplay or something for Watchmen. Yeah. And there was test footage in 2003 with what's his name? Ray, the guy who played Punisher in 2008, not Thomas Jane, the other guy. Ray.
Fuck, I know who you're talking about.
Ray Winston or something like that.
Winstone.
Winstone, yeah. He was Rorschach, and Ian Glenn, Jorah Mormont from Game of Thrones was Night Owl. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool cast. The footage looked good. It was very different visually from after having seen the Zack Snyder version and loving that.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know, but it looked cool, and I like David Hayter. So
nice. Yes. Yeah. Fable 4 is happening.
Possibly.
When did this?
This was like a couple days ago. There was like a leaked listing, which we'll get into more of leaked listings later.
Yes.
Down the line, but
lots of leaks.
I would bet it's probably going to be a launch time or a launch window for the next Xbox, because there's no way, if it's not even announced yet, that it's going to come out by the launch.
Are the Fable series good? I've heard nothing but good stuff about
them. They're pretty good. It's kind of like a more accessible Elder Scrolls.
Okay. You see, because I really, honest to God, think, and I think it's good that Microsoft bought Ninja Theory, or what was it called?
Yeah, they bought Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory, and they also bought Double Fine. Oh, yeah. I'm so happy about that, because I'm like, guys, like the biggest sellers on the PS4 are always the story-driven games. And they have like these cinematic visions. I'm like, Microsoft, like nobody fucking gives a shit about Gears of War anymore. I mean, some people do, but I remember when I was an edgy 12-year-old boy, I mean, I fucking loved that game, but I was an edgy 12-year-old, and I was like, I want to chainsaw some people up. I like how dark and gritty this place looks now. I'm like, I want shit to be bright, man. I want it to be bright and fun, and also too, like, if you listen to, and I love John DiMaggio, who voices Marcus Phoenix in those games, but this, like, he is like a relic of a bygone era, and that he's just like, God, I'm so mad about all these locusts. And I think they really fixed Kratos in God of War by making this character, who was the biggest edgelord on the planet, just so unpleasant. They made him so much more pleasant and so much more of a likable character. They transformed him. And I'm like, Microsoft, you need to get out of that edgy fucking Mountain Dew and Doritos stage. You need to come in here. You need to make a good game that like people can play. And I do think they've gotten better under Phil Spencer.
Yeah, Phil Spencer, he's basically, he knows what he's doing to fix Xbox, because before him, that train wreck of a launch in like 2013.
Yeah, Xbox One was a nightmare.
That's why I feel bad, because he's having to fucking pick up the scraps of what was given to him, and he's doing a great job, and that's what I feel bad about. I'm like, you know what? So I'm hopefully the next console or whatever they're going to be doing underneath his leadership.
I'm really excited. I'm probably not going to get an Xbox Scarlet, but I'm really excited to see what an Xbox console made under Phil Spencer looks like.
Yeah, and from what I'm seeing, this, because I mean, really, everybody's like, oh, why would I buy an Xbox or anything other than Halo? That aside, the new Halo game does look really good, but I think they're riding the ship, because Halo 5, personally as a Halo fan, was a bit of a misstep, especially since the fact it didn't even have co-op, which is like what Halo is known for.
Really?
Yeah.
There was online co-op, but no local co-op. It was like really, but whatever.
Which is
Halo Infinite. They've got a new engine. The whole cast is back. They're looking like they're going to keep this actual story going and focus it on Master Chief rather than Spartan Locke. So I think Xbox it's starting to get back in the swing of things.
It's come back.
Fable 4 is probably going to be another exclusive. I would not. I think it'd be really awesome if Obsidian was developing that.
Oh,
Because they own Obsidian now. If Obsidian was like, hey, launch title, Fable 4, exclusive on the Xbox, that's going to sell a lot of consoles in itself.
Question, do you get Peter Molyneux back for it?
I don't think Xbox even carries his phone number around anymore.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, probably. That's probably true. This is an interesting one. So, Pokemon leaked before it released.
Right.
And now the Pokemon company is suing the leakers.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
That
Now?
it damaged the brand or something like
Which
that. Which
is-
I can see because there was a lot of the leaks were not.
Yeah,
That's
the
what
leaks
happened
were
when
not-
you leak things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, that's...
So my thing is that Pokemon leaks every time.
Every
Literally every time it leaks. Whether it's, it releases early in Japan, whether it's just, breaking streak date, it's a problem, but it's also kind of a good problem because you're the most profitable brand in the entire world.
Absolutely.
And, it leaked, and the game still sold collectively 6 million copies.
And isn't it the best-selling Pokemon game?
No.
Oh, is that still Red and Blue?
No, it's fastest selling.
Fastest selling, okay.
But not best selling.
They leak every time. I remember when Sun
Yeah.
and Moon came out, when they had, it was Litten,
Yeah.
whatever the fucking seal one was,
Popplio.
Poplio, and what was the other one?
Rowlet.
Rowlet. Yeah, I remember when they leaked those. It was because you got a cat, you got an owl, and you got a seal, and you're like, oh, they're all so cute. And I remember it was Litten specifically. And I like the final evolution now, but when I saw it, it was like, oh, this little cat turns into a bigger cat. You're like, okay.
He turns into a wrestler.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. He turns into this fucking ripped ass Tony the Tiger looking guy.
He's literally, if Tony the Tiger was a WWE star, is what it's
I understand everybody in the world thinks they can do better than the people that make it. I think that about Pokemon. I'm like, oh, I could do a better design. But here's the thing, that's all usually bullshit, except when it comes to, what's it called, the seal one again?
Popplio.
Popplio, I keep wanting to say Piplup, I know that's wrong.
Piplup is a Pokemon.
And then I remember, it's started out as a clown, and then it turns into, a ballet dancer, then it turns into, a mermaid. I'm like, you guys have to have some kind of correlation. Because at least with, Squirtle, it's a turtle that spits water. It's a bigger turtle that spits water. Then it's this fucking turtle with cannons on its back. I'm like, at least that makes sense. I'm getting mad. I'm going so off topic.
It makes
guys.
sense for
I'm
Pokemon.
sorry.
Yeah, you're good. But this show always goes off topic.
yeah, it happens.
We talked about Stadia last time. You can listen to it.
no one cares about Stadia.
Google Stadia.
We talked about Half-Life last time.
Did we talk about Half-Life Alex?
Yeah.
Oh,
Guys,
okay.
oh man, I'm sorry. I just had
you're good.
oh my god, Valve. I want to just God damn it, Valve could do whatever they want to me. I want them to come back. I am a bit disappointed that it's in VR just because I don't have a VR headset. But I will say, I'm seeing the Half-Life world come back in full fucking HD, that is incredible. But I did play Half-Life 2 semi-recently, about 6 months ago. And that game holds up very well graphically. A lot of the games that you play, I remember playing the old Grand Theft Auto, and I was like, this is just unbearable to play because of the graphics alone. But Half-Life really holds up. It is still a beautiful game.
Conspiracy theory moment here. I think this is clearly the reason of why competition in the industry is a good thing. Epic Game Store is the reason why this is happening.
Yeah, I agree.
At least in my little conspiracy theory mind. Granted, this would have been in development for a couple of years, but still.
Yeah.
This Valve no longer can just sit back and say, we have Steam, no one else can beat us, so we don't have to do anything. We can just sit here and rake in cash.
Right.
And now you realize this game gets announced, the user interface for Steam just got updated. It's no longer the same, ancient interface anymore. So Valve is like, oh, we actually have to do stuff now. We can't just sit back and rake it in.
We can't
It's
just sit there and
end credit
have...
scene from Spider-Man where Fury's just sitting in this green screen, and the green screen, the whole illusion stops, and he gets up and he's like, "All right, back to work."
So is Epic Games Store they're doing a lot better than Steam.
Well, they're not necessarily doing better. They just have a lot of high-profile exclusives So like Borderlands 3, Control,
Star Wars
Jedi Fallen Order. There's a lot of games that are no longer on Steam and are just going to be on Epic Games Store.
I did see the Quantic Dream Collection. I understand those games don't get I understand those games have some problems, but I love those games because they're accessible to me and my shitty gameplay. But I mean, those are very accessible to me. Yeah. And I remember seeing that, and it's like Epic Games exclusive, and I was like, Epic Games, okay, shit.
Yeah. But that and a lot of the Remedy games are on there too, because Control, Alan Wake, and I believe I love Alan Wake.
It's so good.
Yeah, that and I believe I don't know about Quantum Break because I know there's some Microsoft stuff there, but I believe at least Control and Alan Wake are on Epic Games. So it looks interesting, and if you're interested, just basically Tyler, I believe it's going to be playable on the Oculus Rift, and they have a bundle where you get the 2 Move controllers, the headset, and like 2 cameras for like $399.
Oh, really?
So yeah, $400 for basically everything you need minus a PC.
Well, see, it's like how Disney Plus is, where I keep trying to avoid VR, but it's like fucking constantly following me. I know when I'm gonna have to get
the one thing on Half-Life Alyx though is the specs are so high. Like you need to have you have to have at least minimum GTX 1060, minimum for your graphics card. You gotta have I think it's 12 or 16 gigs of RAM. Like there's a lot of the requirements for your PC are pretty high.
But, I have a Surface, and that's it.
Oh yeah, this game ain't gonna run on the Surface.
Probably not on the Surface. Yeah. Resident Evil 3 remake is happening.
Fanboy, because I'm a big Resident Evil fan.
Almost certainly is happening.
So on the Japanese PlayStation Network store, there was cover art for the game actually leaked, and it's legitimate cover art. This game is definitely happening, especially since the assets are pretty much the same as Resident Evil 2, because it still takes place in Raccoon City.
Okay.
So because Raccoon is the city in both, and you really go to a lot of the same areas. There's some new ones, but in typical Resident Evil fashion, the new character models look nothing like the previous ones. That happens with every Resident Evil game.
That's funny.
Is the remake of Resident Evil 2, did that sell a lot?
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing it. It was beautiful.
It was tough. It was tough competition for both games. Both Kingdom Hearts 3 and Resident Evil came out at the same time
against each other.
And
Devil May Cry 5 came out around that time too.
Yeah. And Resident Evil 2's got nominated for Game of the Year. So
I think it's with Resident Evil. This will mean now if 3 actually is happening, and we can be at least 99% sure it is happening. Yeah. The only Resident Evil game that will not the core numbered series, even though this doesn't have a number, that hasn't been remastered or re-released is Code Veronica. Because 1 and 0 got were already remade on the GameCube, but those got remastered with new backgrounds. Yeah. Then we got obviously 2 and 3 are just getting remade. 4, 5, and 6 are already recent enough that they just got HD remasters. Mm-hmm. Give us a Code Veronica remake, please. That game is so good.
Well, I really I only played Resident Evil 7. I played Resident Evil 7, I played a little bit of Resident Evil 4, but I was a kid and I got fucking scared shitless by the game. But I loved Resident Evil 7. It was a complete... It was a hail back to the original Resident Evil, but it was its own new thing, and I really enjoyed that. The whole... I don't want to fucking spoil this 2-year-old game, but I will say the whole twist of the old woman being that little girl. I don't remember bits and pieces of the plot, but I remember playing that, and I hate scary games. I hate being scared more than anything. I'm a quivering pussy, but I loved that game. Yeah,
I did that too, and I turned the brightness all the way up so there was no shadows in the game. It was brightness all the way up.
Yeah, all the way. I was like, oh my god, this old man's coming after me. Fuck! I hate it.
It's okay. I hate it too.
I probably ruined a little bit of my own experience in that game because it was like, oh, this game is so beautiful. Let me ruin the lighting in this game and just turn the brightness all the way up.
Ruin the game.
But Resident Evil, great series. Yeah. It's cheesy beyond belief, but they're great. This newest one isn't as cheesy, but go back to Resident Evil 4. You're like, what is this game?
That's what looking back on. I was scared shitless as a kid, but then looking back on, I'm like, oh, this is pretty stupid, huh? But stupid in a good way. I don't mean
like that kid with the parasite dressed up as Napoleon chasing you with a giant statue.
And he was
hello. Resident Evil makes no sense, but. Nice. Well, I guess that kind of makes sense because Resident Evil 4 started was what became Devil May Cry. Yes, originally Devil May Cry was a plan for Resident Evil 4, but it got too wacky. So let's just make it its own thing. And that's what happened.
And now we have Devil May Cry. Amazon is planning game streaming.
That doesn't surprise me. They already have everybody's data, so they don't need to do anything else.
Well, also, I mean, they own Twitch.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Wait, by game streaming, do you mean like the whole Google Stadia, stuff?
Type
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why they. Okay, here's the thing though. Like, I get why, and that is a cool thing in concept. My voice just fucking cracked.
Yeah, you're good.
It's really cool in concept. Like, I mean, because I saw Google Stadia, I was like, I'm not gonna get it, but that's really cool, especially for like maybe somebody that's not really that involved in Nintendo.
Not so cool.
Is it not? Is it,
I mean, if it works, it'd be cool.
The problem with Google Stadia is that if it fulfilled the promise of Netflix for games, it would be passable. But the problem is that the subscription doesn't actually get you any games.
You subscribe, and then you've got to pay for the games individually.
And they're all full price.
Well, when I first heard about the game, when I first heard about the Google Stadia, and I was like, oh, you pay like a monthly subscription, you get all these games. I'm like, that's incredible. But then it was like, oh, and you got to pay a monthly subscription, but they also... You have to buy the games yourself, and I'm like, why the fuck would I get this?
Yeah, why would I get this over a PlayStation 4 where I can download the games, have them run pretty effectively?
It's like, well, I can pay $2.99 for a PS4 now, like the Slim, to have it forever in all these games, which I can usually get discounted because you can go to GameStop, get a pre-owned one for $30. Like, it doesn't...
I truly was like, I'm like, I get, and also too, like, I understand Amazon's big. I hate Amazon again, but as soon as I got to use it, I mean, it's, I don't know why them and Google, like, their names are big and obviously be recognizable, but they're not as recognizable as, like, if you're like a fucking gamer, like your Nintendo, your Sony, your Microsoft. I don't know, like. It's like the Ouya, whatever the fuck it was called. Yeah. Like when that came in, they're like, we're gonna have a microcosm, but everyone's gonna buy this. I'm like,
what a tragic.
Yeah, so you can play Android mobile games on your TV. Like,
Atari,
why would I want to do that?
That's what I'm like. Why would you? Like Atari came out with this new thing. It's called like the Atari.
Yeah,
VCS.
I remember.
I looked at that. The Atari VCS is actually it's been in Kickstarter like beta forever. It's still not actually out. They announced this thing in like 2017, and it's still not out.
I just don't. My thing about that is like it's like Atari. Your game sucked when you were a big company. But that's what, I don't know why they're making this thing. It's if it was $100, it could be kind of something. It is like $3.90. It was $2.99, I think it is. And I'm like, why would I buy that?
If they owned Pac-Man, it would be okay.
Well, and the thing is like,
Bandai owns Pac-Man.
Well, and this isn't even just the same Atari, because Atari's been bankrupt and bought and resold so many times that the Atari that this is now is not the same Atari from like the 1970s.
I generally don't even know why they even sell those, like the whole things they do on PS4 and Xbox, where they're just like, oh, it's the Atari collection. If you play those, you play it solely for the nostalgia of the music. Those games are unplayable.
Yeah.
Like at least the NES and the SNES, those games still hold up brilliantly.
They're difficult, but they still hold up.
And then you fucking play the Atari, you're like, oh, I don't know what's happening, but I'm a square. And like,
there's a rectangle bouncing another rectangle or something like that.
That's great.
Yeah, there are some interesting tidbits about the code on Atari platforms, but it's
Atari's like, it's good as a history thing, and you go, okay, cool, neat, I have these games, and then I'll never touch them again.
The Atari dumpster story was
with E.T.?
Yeah,
that's a fascinating story.
It's a fascinating story, but the game isn't good.
If I collected games, I'd love to have Atari, but
Atari's a fascinating history.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan pitches a Superman movie.
I like Michael B. Jordan. I don't personally see him as like mainline Superman, because for me it's still Henry Cavill. But I think if they did like an Elseworlds thing, he'd be pretty good.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd be cool.
Or like a Reign of the Superman story, and there's just like, the whole multiple Superman thing.
And then...
Are you moving on, or...
you could go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll be brief.
Yeah.
It goes back to the topic with earlier, on like, I don't know what DC's doing. If it's a reboot, I'm on board with it. I'm also, like, I like Michael B. Jordan as an actor. I loved him in Creed. I love him in...
he's great. He's
in everything,
great.
Actually.
Yeah, everything I've seen him in.
Including the boring fan four stick. I love
the cast
my
was not
part.
the problem with that four stick. The cast was not the problem.
Right. But speaking of Colin Trevorrow... Wait, was it?
No, he was...
No, that was Josh Trank. Sorry. Other Star Wars
Another fire director.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's basically it.
Okay.
I'm intrigued. I don't know where they're going with it.
We got to keep in mind also, this is pitched. That doesn't necessarily mean it's happening. That also doesn't even mean that he's starring in it. It just means he pitched it.
I don't know anything about Superman, but I love Michael B. Jordan, so I'm like, I don't know.
I think he'd be good.
He'd do good in the role. I just personally, I'm so into like seeing Henry Cavill as Superman in my head that or like a Christopher Reeve type, with the black hair and the suit and everything else like that. It's Michael B. Jordan's a great actor. It just would take some getting used to for me to see him in this iconic role.
Yeah,
I think he'd be best as. I think he would have been, if it wasn't Robert Pattinson, he would have been a good Batman. I think.
Yeah, I can see
that's fair. Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
HBO Max lower budget DC movies. Now this was a thing that Todd Phillips was pitching to.
This is, I believe, is actually happening.
This is
it's
actually
going to be like budgets of $60 million or less, which is I guess low budget.
Yeah, I think the Sonic movie is like $50 million.
Yeah, we judge every movie's budget based against the Sonic movie.
Well, that's what I'm like. I mean, Pete's Dragon a couple years ago, which is like significantly better than the original Pete's Dragon because that movie had 2 seconds of the dragon. But the new one that had a budget of $60 million, and that is a beautiful film. And that dragon or whatever was made by Weta Digital.
Oh, yeah, Weta is amazing.
And that's what it was so incredible seeing that. I'm like, for $60 million. That's why the movie only made like $150 million back, but like it was still a box office success because it was low budget. And so I think like if you're doing $60 million, especially Joker was $55 million. That movie was it has a beautiful cinematography and everything. So I really do think like if they're doing the characters that don't need like, oh, this character is a giant floating pickle, like you don't need to do that. You can definitely, I do think, and I think HBO Max, like I'm very excited. They're making a lot of animated series. I don't know. I'm just. Fuck.
The only thing they're doing that worries me is a reboot. No, I guess that's on the NBC one. Never mind. This is on Peacock, not HBO Max. Okay. So I was going to say they're rebooting Battlestar Galactica. I'm like, don't you mess this up.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think would be
the other streaming service that thinks it has a competition against Netflix.
I think with the HBO Max DC movies, it'd be kind of interesting if they just take some of the characters. Like, I mean, there's not going to be any Justice League characters that do that.
Yeah.
But say they want to do like. Oh, we'll do an origin story of Mr. Freeze, $60 million, put it on HBO Max or something like that.
Which is pretty cool. Well, that'd be a good idea. Get the governor back for it.
I think maybe they could also do like they're already doing a Green Lantern show on there, so like just do that.
Yeah, damn Warner Brothers. God, they're getting me. They're bringing back the Chowder creator for like a new show, and I'm like, Chowder was my childhood.
And that now I mean like how many streamers? Okay, because like. Does Universal have one yet? Because I guess NBC, Universal, Peacock.
Yeah.
So Paramount has CBS All Access technically.
Correct.
HBO Max, Disney Plus,
Sony,
Netflix. Sony doesn't have one yet.
Sony has Crackle, but that's not really.
Nobody cares about Crackle.
Yeah.
Well, if these services, like I guess, but Crackle's also free.
Also Sony doesn't have the content.
They don't have the back catalog that the other studios do.
No, they don't. They have some stuff, but not a lot.
Right.
Let's move on to Link in Mario Maker 2.
It's cool.
That was kind of wild. Nintendo very randomly put up a Mario update, Mario Maker update trailer.
Let's call it their master update.
I watched it. I watched it because I have Mario Maker 2. I like the game, but I don't play it a lot. And I watched it. And they were showing some cool stuff, like, oh, they added some cool new items, and then I just see the Master Sword, and I'm like, what are you doing? And then he literally transforms into Link.
And you can, it's only 2D Link. You can't do, modern Link. But it's like he transforms into 2D Link, and you can, build and explore your own 2D Zelda dungeons.
Yeah, people have been making, remakes of Zelda dungeons in 3D games.
I mean, you could probably remake the original Zelda in that game.
Yeah, there was one room that perfectly mimicked a room in the Zelda game that it comes from. There were plants that were hanging from the ceiling, and what they did was they had piranha plants hanging from the ceiling in that little space. That was cool. People are able to do stuff like that now, and that's cool. Call of Duty Battle Pass / Season 1.
Doesn't surprise me. They announced Call of Duty Season 1 of content. It's basically just going to be a Fortnite type thing.
Which I actually, this is an interesting topic. I'll keep. Actually, you know what? That might be a later topic.
Okay.
Just talking about it was just about pay-to-play games.
Oh, yeah.
But I think
With
Call of Duty, like, in the trailer, they say, like, the biggest free content drop in Call of Duty history. I'm like, the only free content drop in Call of Duty history.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, the funny thing is that, like, the funny thing about paid content, and I don't necessarily have an issue with it, but it gets patched into your game anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you technically have the files on your... because it has to interact... The game has to be able to interact with other players who have that content.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's just funny to me that, like, we used to complain a lot about on-disc DLC, but now it's just, like, in the files of your game.
In free-to-play games, it is. But, like, some games, for example, if you have an expansion pack, that's different. Because it's
multiplayer games, like any fighting game, Call of Duty, stuff like that, they have to patch it in because the online is so important. In like a Final Fantasy 15, like the episode DLCs, they're just like 8 gigabytes a piece, and they just like patch it into your game when you download it. Yeah.
Next.
What is next? That's a good question. Sony has confirmed they're done with handhelds. Good riddance.
Rest in peace, PS Vita.
Yeah, R.I.P. PS Vita, but nobody asked for
it. The Vita was so good, but then they just ran it into the ground.
Well, see, it was really weird because, like, I remember people playing the PS Vita, and I was like, and this was before the Switch, I was like, my God, the graphics in this are incredible.
Yeah, it's a cool piece of tech.
And then it looked really nice. Like, I mean, like, I remember I played like the demo of that one game called like Tearaway, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I remember like they had like the finger sensors on the back. If I just said, you can rub your fingers on the console and it pops up, that's weird. But like it has these sensors on the back, you could like bring your finger up and you can like use a way to. Yeah. It makes no fucking sense. I can't explain it on this thing. But I remember like being so blown away by the way it looked and the way like. And then people were like, "Oh, there's no games on the system." I'm like, "What do you mean? Oh, there's like 6 games. That's about it."
Yeah, that's the thing about the Vita is it launched with a lot of cool games. Like it had an Uncharted game that was great, a Killzone game that was amazing,
and a God of War game too.
They ported over the first 2 God of War games. It wasn't the original.
Didn't they have a God of War prequel game in there?
The PSP did. The Vita did.
Oh, the PSP did.
They had the Persona 4 port.
There's cool games, but then eventually, because it was bigger in Japan, the library ended up just being a lot of JRPGs.
Yeah, it became JRPGs and visual novels.
And I'm not much of that into that genre, so like for me, it was the early launch titles. But then every company that was not a visual novel or a JRPG company just abandoned it.
I enjoy visual novels, but RPGs, like the only RPGs I ever like are the Mario and Luigi ones, because at least require some kind of user interaction. You got to like press the button at the right time when you're attacking an enemy. But with like, even with Pokemon, again, I like those games. I love the aesthetic and all the way the Pokemon look and everything. Yeah. But when you're playing them, I can't stand the type of games where you touch a button, hit, and then it's like, oh, okay, that's not my favorite. But I like visual novels, because those at least are like, it's not a game, you just fucking read it and there's some little interactions.
Yeah. I think this pretty much just confirms that like Sony's done with the Vita.
Yeah, Sony's done with the Vita and they're not making another handheld.
I don't even know if it's even still in production anymore. I believe they ceased production already.
I would be, I think you're right. I'm okay with this, mostly because like now this gives Sony first party, like, they don't have to have somebody on Vita.
Well, anymore. They haven't for a long time.
They didn't for a long time, but like now that they've confirmed it, it's not happening anymore. So their resources are all going to some really excellent console stuff.
They just need to help support the PSVR, because if they just abandon that like they abandoned the Vita, then it's like, why did they just spend $300 on this? Like, they need to support that.
Yeah. I think stuff like Iron Man VR.
And Blood and Truth is nominated for a Game Award, and it's great. So
I will say that, I mean, I think Sony knows they can't compete with Nintendo when it comes to handhelds. Like, nobody can. I mean, because the Switch is just like, everyone was expecting the Switch to just bomb completely, and the fact that it's such a good console is saying something.
Yeah, the only thing that they ended up doing, I think, was the PSP outsold the 3DS, but that was just in the States. That's not in Japan.
Yeah,
so.
Right.
3DS is great handheld. Microsoft may have new 2 Xbox models out.
Oh, two new. I wrote that at like 2 a.m, so my brain was like, how do I? Yeah.
And I'm sick, so my brain is scrambled. One with a disc drive and one without.
So it'd basically be like they already have that with the Xbox One S. You can get the all digital edition, which is just you get like a month of Xbox Live Ultimate or something, and then you just buy all your games online. There's no disc drive, which I guess is
okay.
If that's what you want, you already buy games all digital, and it's a cheaper model because there's no disc drive.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
as long I don't disagree with you, but I also think there's a problem where it would be like, okay, so the Xbox Scarlet is gonna come out at like $400 with a disc drive and $300 without.
It's not going to be that big of a difference because like currently the Xbox One S difference is like $50, so it's not going to be a huge variance in terms of price.
My thing is like with me, I know I like to collect physical games. I do like that, but there's some times where like I mean digital sometimes is just so much more convenient, and also sometimes I remember with Red Dead Redemption 2 that has 2 fucking discs, and also sometimes it is kind of a pain in the ass. It sounds so lazy because it is so lazy, but having to like eject the other game, then put it back into its disc, then get my other game, put that in,
or even having to go to the store to get it. You can just feel like I can click and download.
You've been doing it for like 20 years at this point, right? Like it's something that like I've been ejecting discs since I was like 8.
I can't even tell how many times I've just done that process.
It feels super antiquated, and so I don't really like. What I mind is that digital games are still 60. Like if they were 40, I would be okay.
Well, and this could also be an issue depending on hard drive size. If the all digital version's like you've got 1 terabyte, that's gonna, especially with the size the games are getting to become, that's gonna fill up real fast.
Also, what does happen? Can you use like a terabyte hard drive, an external hard drive to like?
We don't know. Like, you can currently on the models. We don't know the specs of the next models, so I can't definitively say that.
I just like I'm still like going to GameStop, and I still enjoy like looking at games, and I still love looking at like the physical games, and I love collecting them. But I will say that it is just. I don't know if it's getting more inconvenient or what, but there's just to that point where it's kind of weird because I'll have half physical games and I'll have half digital games, and sometimes it really is more convenient having those digital games in the system.
Part of the thing too is that the PS2, GameCube. I don't know what the original Xbox's deal was with this, but the way that they handled their discs in the slot-in function. Is a lot better than like doing a modern DVD thing where it just like spits it out and you put it in. Most in terms of tedium,
push and then push it down. The Xbox had a tray that like spat out. You put it in and then it went back in.
Yeah, and that's even better than what we have now, where it's like you like hold your disc up to the PS4 and hope that it takes it, which is fine. Like it works, but it feels slower.
Yeah, but I think I still prefer the physical discs mainly because digital versions I don't trust that they're still going to be there because technically you don't even own the game, you're kind of renting it essentially because like there's been games like PT people legitimately had that and then Konami was like nah we're not going to do that and just pull it off the store and even if you had it you can't get it, so it's bad for preservation, but I think once the kinks get worked out maybe then I'll switch over to digital.
Yeah, I think I'm always scared too because it's like once you, at least let's say I sold my Xbox 360 and I still had all those games left over and I could like use those because the Xbox One has really good backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
But like what's going to happen? Let's say you had the Xbox Scarlet and you just sold that and all the games are on there and you're kind of just like, oh, okay, well, this kind of sucks, huh?
Yeah, I think we'll have to see when they unveil these consoles. I think Microsoft, they don't want to make the same mistake of the Xbox One of introducing too much too fast. I think they're going to say, like, hey, we've got 2 models, and you just pick the one you want. That way, like, they're not going to upset the people who want physical media. And also, the other thing people don't think about is, as much as digital can be convenient, there's a large subset of people in, like, rural areas where the internet connection is so poor, it's going to take them, like, 6 days to download a game. Like,
that's true.
Well, that's also kind of already a problem with the discs.
Well, yeah,
like Final Fantasy 15, you enter your discs and you're downloading 100 gigabyte.
Well, part of that is also because the studios are getting lazy and just putting out a day one patch. That's also part of the problem.
There's that. Well, I think there's that, but there's also like compression is. Yeah. People need to learn how to compress their games.
A game like offloading off of a disc onto the hard drive is different than saying like, oh yeah, here's a day one 50 gig patch. That's a separate issue.
So before we get into our trailer gauntlet this week, there is a sort of niche thing. There's a new the Starship Troopers RTS coming out.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I saw the trailer came out last night. I didn't expect it. Looks neat for RTS fans. I'm not an RTS fan, but I am a Starship Troopers fan.
Cool.
What's RTS?
It's real-time strategy. Like
okay.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if Dota were single player. Kind of
but it's I think they're really the only RTS games I've played with the Halo Wars games. And I enjoyed those, but they were also like baby's first RTS. So but they were all right. But it's Starship Troopers. It's kind of missing the point with this game because like the movie is very self-aware. It's kind of like a satire on that like ultra militarism, like America, we got this kind of thing. And just like ultra that, and then this game is completely ignoring that and just being like Space Marines, and it's like it's kind of missing the point of Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
The only strategy game I think I've ever played, and it is considered a strategy game. People are going to mock me for it, but it's Pikmin. I love that.
I mean, I would kind of consider that.
Is it a strategy game or is it sort of like a collect-a-thon with strategy elements?
Well, I mean, I just on the Wikipedia page it just says like for genre it just said strategy. Okay. So I mean, it could be. I think it's one of those like it's considered strategy, but I'm sure there's like some incredible subset I've never even heard of before.
Some mini genre.
Yeah, or it's just like it's actually a colored choosing strategy picker. I'm like I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But I
just like this game.
Yeah, I mean it's that and what's Fire Emblem considered?
It's a strategy. It's a turn-based strategy.
Yeah, see, I'm not. I think that game I played and I fell asleep during it. I'm like, this isn't the
they're
game
not
for
for everybody.
I can see why people like them though. They're very good.
For me, I think really Halo Wars was the only ones that I played, and there was also a Halo story there, so they kind of kept me involved.
They get you with that. So what do we want to start with? Do we want to start with the No Time to Die trailer or the Black Widow trailer?
Damn.
Why don't we do No Time to Die?
Okay.
I feel like I'll have more to say about Black Widow.
Yeah.
Okay. The No Time to Die trailer came out.
No Time to Die is the next Bond movie, for those of you who don't know.
007 No Time to Die is
I think, as a big Bond fan, somebody who's watched almost all of them, over winter break, I'm probably going to get caught up on the rest of them I haven't watched. This movie looks great, I personally think. It looks like they're bringing back the classic Bondisms with, the weird masks and gadgets and everything. When the headlights go down and they have the Gatling guns inside the headlights in that car, I was like, yes, this is Bond.
I think this movie looks good. I hated the trailer editing.
Yeah,
hated the editing. It was choppy.
Yeah, it was. I think I focused more on the footage being shown than I did on the actual editing of the trailer.
Yeah,
the trailer itself is not necessarily a great trailer, but the footage in it looks great.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I agree.
See, with me, I have a lot of things to say in the sense that Cary Fukunga is directing this, and he did a great job with Beasts of No Nation.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm liking another couple of movies he's made, but he also wrote the treatment for It, the first one.
And I think he did a couple episodes of True Detective.
Did it? Yeah, he's a very talented director. And I really do enjoy. He's also a fan of Red Dead Redemption 2, so he's on my side. But I will say that I don't know that much about Bond. I know I have. It's weird. I've seen the movies, but I don't remember them that well. I remember with the one Skyfall with Javier Bardem as
Skyfall was great.
Yeah, see, and I love that movie. But it's one of those I see those and I love seeing them. Mm-hmm. But if somebody asked me what happened during them, I couldn't relate it to them. I'd be like, oh well, there was James Bond spy stuff, and he leapt one, he jumped once, and I remember it was one of those. I don't know what's going on in this movie. But for the trailer at least, there's bits and pieces that I'm like, okay. And I know that Rami Malek is going to be in this. He did a fantastic job as Freddie Mercury, and also in Mr. Robot.
Right.
So I'm excited to see that. The cast looks incredible. And I even love Daniel Craig. He looks so pissed off during this trailer, and it's bad that I can't tell if that's Daniel Craig or if that's Daniel. And I'm really both. I think it's like a mixture, but either way, I think they're supposed to make him look a bit desperate, like he's struggling, and I really do enjoy that. He's not even wearing a suit sometimes in the trailer.
Sometimes he's just getting into it,
and I think that's a kind of a good deconstruction of the character so far.
I think this is going to be interesting because this is the last Bond movie for Daniel Craig. This is his last.
So sad.
So I think
for me.
Yeah, I think he was a great Bond. I do like how, and I hope when we get another Bond, because we're going to get another Bond,
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to see a different interpretation. Because Daniel Craig's was great. It was much more of that, like, brawlish, broken spy. So, part of me, as much as I love the Daniel Craig era, would like another Pierce Brosnan type wacky, goofy spy series again. Yeah. Like, I would like to see a little bit of that, but also maybe a new interpretation. I don't want to get it too much into it, but I would like to see another Bond movie after this with James Bond, because they've been talking about doing the 007 series, and this what's her face, Lashana Lynch's character plays a 00 agent,
the new 007,
but not James Bond. So and that they'd be doing movies with her as 007, and there would not be James Bond anymore. For me, I want a 007 movie to have James Bond in the role. Like, for me, as personally, I think it's because it's the Bond series, at least personally, but.
It's not the Bond cinematic universe.
It's not it's nicknamed 007 because that's his agent number, but it's about James Bond.
Well, Christopher Nolan is making that movie called Tenet, and it has
John David Washington.
Yeah, right? John David Washington.
That was great.
Robert Pattinson, and that's what I'm like.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson. I learned Robert Pattinson was in that movie, and I was like, I'm 10 times more excited.
See, Christopher Nolan, he's talked for years about wanting to make a James Bond movie, but he just said it's never worked out the way he's wanted it to. And a lot of people from what that Tenet movie looks like, it looks like that's what it's gonna kind of be.
Yeah.
But then also Robert Pattinson is like, this movie has 18 genres in one, and I genuinely cannot tell what it's about. But I'm just gonna say that it seems to be having the same kind of realistic and gritty tone that James Bond has in these new recent Quantum of Solace and all those new ones that have coming out.
I would like to see Nolan get to maybe him do a reboot after No Time to Die comes out, and he just kind of sets forth what he wants the Bond series to be.
What was everybody's opinion on Spectre?
I never saw
I don't remember it. I saw it. I just don't remember it.
It's like I don't remember it, and obviously it's very connected to this movie.
I'll have to rewatch it again
because it has the main villain from the last movie.
Well, and it's got the same Bond. No, I guess they're not Bond girls anymore, but
Madeline
Swan is back.
Yeah, I it's just like, oh my gosh. I saw this. I saw Spectre about a year ago. I missed it in the theaters, and even then, from a year gap, I couldn't remember.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. That's what I mean. If I left the theater after I see a James Bond movie and you were like, hey man, what'd you just see? I really would be so lost. But I do enjoy them when I see them. I don't know if that's
right.
And it's bad that I honestly cannot tell if that's a fault of the movie, if that's a fault of my own attention span. But I just honestly cannot remember. I remember seeing it, but it just really went through me. I remember Christoph Waltz was in it, and I liked him.
He's back in this one.
Oh, is he back?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But I hope it's good. I'm a big fan. I want Daniel Craig to go out on a high note, and it's pretty much been every other movie with him has been good. So if Spectre was a little bit disappointing, we should be good for another really good one again.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I don't know if it'll top Casino Royale though. That movie is just.
And that brings us to the finale, Black Widow, or as I should be calling it, Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
Gear.
I think this looks really good. I was genuinely surprised by how much I actually enjoyed this trailer. Because this movie, I was like, it's Marvel, I was going to go see it, but I was kind of like, whatever. And then I saw the trailer, I was like, this actually looks really good. It looks like a Bond movie, speaking of No Time to Die.
Yeah, well, it for me, when I watched it, I had an issue where, there was some indication that it was kind of going to be a spy thing towards the beginning, but when you have this guy putting on the what's his name,
the Red Guardian,
the Red Guardian outfit, and I'm just like, look, I have no idea what this movie's gonna be anymore, and I'm at once okay with that, but the trailer told me nothing.
Well, and it's also a teaser trailer. It's
not a
movie, but half the footage in the trailer is previous Marvel movie footage.
No, you go first. I'm happy David Harbour's in it. I love him, and he was the only good part about the new Hellboy movie. He was the only good part. I love Hellboy, and they ruined it except for him. And then I really do feel like his addition to it is really good. The only thing I had during the entire trailer, I remember they had Taskmaster pop up.
Yeah.
And
he looked too much like Hawkeye.
Well, he looked like he had a motorcycle helmet on, but they just painted a skull on it. And I'm like, guys,
you
come
can do
on.
better than that.
Well, then, but then again, I will say that I actually really like Black Widow as a character, and I've loved it in all the movies. And I remember my girlfriend Haley hates Black Widow so much. I think part of it comes from how much she hates Scarlett Johansson. But I remember there was at the moment when she died in Endgame, and I was like, oh man, that's so sad. Then Haley's like, I'm happy she's dead. And I was like, whoa! I had no idea about her hatred towards her until that moment. I'm actually very excited to see it. I mean, I really do think that it looks a bit more grounded, but Marvel always has some weird fantastical stuff going on, and I really do think that just showing this new side of it, where I mean, it does take place before any of this stuff.
It's between Civil War and Infinity War.
Okay.
Which is
it's weird placement, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too that they went with the, with the white boss's outfit in.
Oh, I think it
Black
looks cool.
I think it looks cool. I'm interested to see where why she's wearing that outfit and where that's gonna go.
They're going to Siberia. It's
I think that's a flashback.
Yeah,
I think that's a flashback.
That could be a flashback.
Yeah,
Because
I mean this whole movie's kind of flashback.
The way Age of Ultron portrayed Black Widow with the flashbacks is she kind of looked the same, so they could actually come up. Forget the whole 10-year gap or whatever.
They've also got great de-aging tech. So
right. So, well, I don't know. That William Hurt looks like a flashback.
Well, this is a trailer. The effects are probably not done. The effects are probably not done.
That's true. That's true. But
we did say that about Captain Marvel.
Well, about which one?
The effects weren't done.
Yeah.
I thought Nick Fury looked great.
I did.
I'm just saying
Clark
the VFX
Gregg
in general.
weird.
Oh yeah, I mean that's. Yeah.
They looked unfinished right up until that movie came out, and they still looked unfinished.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
Yeah, I love Black
I'm really
Widow.
excited.
I'm really excited to see what they do. I'm interested to see if they decide to do anything beyond just telling this story between Civil War and Infinity War.
I think the placement makes sense somewhat.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously going to do flashbacks, but I think it also will make sense as an excuse for why she can't call anybody else in, because after the Sokovia Accords, everybody's on the run. So she can't just be like, oh, and I'm wanted by the U.S. government, so I can't go in and just get help. I have to be a spy.
Right. Well, my only thing was. Until he showed up on in the trailer, I was like, "That's William Hurt talking." And I'm like, when did they get that interaction? You know what I mean? Because William Hurt should be hunting after her, not having that conversation. But then I saw the de-aging, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, well, I think it'll be interesting. I also am kind of surprised that this isn't after Age of Ultron, because they kind of set that whole thing up of I want to clear this off after Age of Ultron. Why?
Interesting.
She decided to wait 2 years before doing anything after Age of Ultron. But
who knows?
Oh well. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
One last thing. In terms of we mentioned the costumes, I do love the costume design.
I let me clarify. I don't hate it. I like it a lot.
Right.
But I do think it's, especially since it's between Infinity War and Civil War, I think it's interesting that they went with this super white outfit, given that she traditionally wears the black, basically a skin suit.
Also, so glad they brought back the classic bright orange long hair. They actually brought that back in some of those scenes. Yes, because that's a quintessential Black Widow. So I'm glad they brought that.
That's cool. Back. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's move on to topics. So we're not doing a big hour-long topic
because we had a ridiculously long amount of news.
Yes. And so Sawyer, you played a bunch of games.
Okay, so I'm going to split mine down the middle real quick. This will be one that gets more focused than the other. So I beat BioShock Infinite and its DLC, Burial at Sea, Parts 1 and 2. Starting with BioShock Infinite, I thought the game was great. I had played it before back on the PS3 in 2013, but I replayed it on PS4. Game is still great. I thought having played the first two BioShocks before it and then going into it gave me more context. I really liked the gameplay. I thought the story was really interesting. However, I do think it got a little bit lost towards the end. but it picked itself back up. It's like when it gets to that whole, like, time gap thing. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's some stuff that I was like, oh, okay, but then it really ramps itself back up at the end. I also like the whole "there's always a man, there's always a lighthouse" thing, because that basically leaves the door open for just like, we can do anything and label it BioShock as long as it has this core idea.
Right.
Burial at Sea was a little bit weak. It was basically an excuse to say, you guys remember Rapture? Hey, here's Rapture again. Also, the storyline is kind of vague. But the second one also, like, I played the entire second episode and didn't understand what just happened. But they also never explain if this is the same Rapture or if this is just another universe of Rapture. They never explained that. But
BioShock Infinite, I mean, that changed my life when I played it. And I know there's I've said 4 times that a game has changed my life. But I mean, really, when I played that, I was so blown away by it. That I think part of the reason I did not play the DLC is, one, because of money, but the other part of it too, I was just like, I couldn't get back into that again. When I played BioShock Infinite, I lost time. I lost everything because I was just playing that all the time because the gameplay was so crisp.
Oh yeah,
and it was so fun to play that I miss it now.
The only thing I'd have to say about the BioShock Infinite would be looking at what the game was originally supposed to be in terms of E3 trailers and stuff like that. Yeah, the game had definitely changed in incarnations. Okay, like the skylines were apparently supposed to be much more involved and take you around the entire city. They became these much more on rails segments. Yeah, that's really the only thing that I would say. It's I wish there was more of. Otherwise, the gameplay was great. The scale was so much bigger than the first 2 BioShocks, which I think translates over, because the first 2 you're in these tight corridors underwater, you can't move around a lot. And this one, it's just you're in the skies flipping around and everything. I also like how they didn't shy away from what the plot was, because the whole idea was basically, I mean, with BioShock in general, is when one person gets too much power, it becomes a problem. Yeah. And it was Andrew Ryan in the first one, Sophia Lamb in the second one, Comstock in this third one. And they used different ideas of how they got there. For Andrew Ryan, it was the objectivism, I don't want to have to listen to what Washington says anymore, I'm going to do this. Second one, it was, screw Andrew Ryan, we're going to do communism. It didn't work very well. And then this one is much more of a religious aspect. It was him basically...
Is it, out of curiosity, is the direction of, especially in Infinite, since it's sort of taking a religious tone, is it basically just sort of that notion that if God is all powerful, God can't be all good?
It's not necessarily about God. It's basically Comstock is basically a prophet, and it's him basically saying, "I know what's best for all of you, so you'll do what I say." Kind of thing.
What I thought was brilliant too about that game is they were able to, because Rapture is such a dark and dreary place, and it's scary because of that. But then Columbia is this bright and sunny and beautiful place, and then they somehow made it absolutely terrifying. Oh yeah! I mean, even Ken Levine even said in an interview once, he's like, "I want to make this place that looks like a paradise be the scariest place you've ever been to, and even scarier than Rapture." And I really think that they succeeded in that.
And I like all the subtle details of explaining the world. Rapture did this great, but in Columbia, basically Comstock is without too much spoilers. Yeah. They use the aesthetics of your traditional Christian or turn of the century aesthetics. Yeah. But it's much more. It's not really Christian. I mean, they use the same concept of gods and stuff like that. Yeah. But
it is sort of stereotypically sort of Western religious.
Yeah. They also worship the founding fathers. So there's statues of George Washington, Ben Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson everywhere. Interesting. And it's also a lot of very deep seated in terms of. This takes place, they reference the Boxer Rebellion a lot, and for those of you who don't know, it was an issue with China we had back in the day, and it was...
that's one way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit bigger than that. Yeah. I don't want to go into all the history. Yes. But there was, long story short, it takes place after that, and Colombia splits off from the Union after Washington says, hey, you shouldn't have bombed China. And so then they become this way more of just we have to prevent ourselves from getting taken over by the invaders. And so anybody who's not, strictly speaking, European is hunted. And it's, or second class. And so there's a lot of posters you'll walk around. It says protect Colombia, and a lot of things you're no, I don't like seeing.
Very racist depiction. I mean, that's what I was really at first I can definitely see why people have a problem with the game because there are a lot of like very, very racist caricatures, and it is like shown that is very bad.
Yeah, it's like it's not meant to be a good.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. I think that's what's good, but I can definitely see some people are still like, I'm just uncomfortable playing a game that has that kind of iconography or whatever the fuck about that word's pronounced. Like, and I can see why people have an issue with that.
Yeah.
But I do say that the game at least is like, oh, this is like a shit. See, this place is hell on earth. Like, you don't want to be here because everyone here is a maniac.
Yeah, and they explain it away as basically saying this is Comstock. One man's prejudice is taking over an entire people. It's like his ideas are being used to control the people, and they essentially say it's like
dark reality,
like Comstock and everything. And they also the protagonist. I also love how Booker DeWitt is not a like. He's not this perfect character. He has a lot of flaws. Like, he was at the Battle of Wounded Knee, and he feels remorse for killing all these Indians. And then also, basically the sequence, I don't know, Tyler, you remember this? When you're talking to, what's his name? The old soldier. And he's taking you down the old, what's the place called? Like a Soldier's Alley or something like this. And you go through the Boxer Rebellion thing, and then you also go down the Wounded Knee hallway, and there's like these...
Oh, wait, I remember that.
And he's talking to you as all these, like, signs pop up. It's like you're going in like a museum, like Kosai type thing.
Well, see, I think they even remember. I think Booker was even like. I mean, Booker's kind of a piece of shit too, because like there's even they even say that he was almost fired from the Pinkertons because he took like he was almost too brutal against any kind of Native Americans. And like,
it gets a little bit fucked up. I love also how he's just like he's there to kind of fulfill his debts, and he does feel remorse for what he did.
Well, it's one of those like he's just he's a drunkard and all this stuff, and they've really shown that like he's not perfect, but it's not like he's just it's that time period he's just a fucking fool and wandering around. And it's actually it's very fucked up.
And like the last like 30 to 45 minutes of this game is just one big like what just happened. Like there's just a lot of just like everything kind of hits you at once.
Yeah.
Do you guys? I know you played. Do you guys care about spoilers?
I don't. I haven't played.
Okay,
any
so
of
I
the
can
series.
spoil.
And I don't really know anything about this game. So.
Spoilers for those of you at home. Okay, so basically in the end, Comstock and Booker DeWitt end up being the same person. Basically, there's some like time issues, like time portals. So Booker, and it's kind of hard to explain. Booker is essentially if he took this baptism. Or, like, it's not really a baptism, but it's meant to visually look like one. Yeah. He ends up becoming reborn, and it becomes Comstock, it creates Columbia and all these things after the Battle of Wounded Knee to kind of, like, absolve himself of his sins.
So there's, like, a paradox.
Yes. And if he decides not to take the baptism and absolve himself of that, then he stays Booker, and he's a drunkard, and he gives away his daughter, who ends up being Elizabeth. But, there's a whole bunch of these issues, but basically he has a worse off life, but he's not this racist, controlling dictator. But it's this complicated thing, and then eventually
it's honest.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of ideas and time paradoxes and multiple realities, and it gets way confusing. But it's one of those endings where you're just like, I have no idea what just happened. I need to digest this, but it was a heck of an ending, and it's. Eventually,
it's kind of like the ending of Nier Automata, where you're just like, "Wow, that just happened." Okay.
Yeah. And briefly on Burial at Sea, it kind of is just like an excuse of we want to go back to Rapture. Okay. They end up explaining it. Do you care about spoilers for that one? Okay. In Burial at Sea, you play as Booker, but it turns out you were a Comstock that escaped his fate after they end up eliminating all the Comstocks in this weird reality thing. Don't worry about it. But he escaped and took over and had in his mind he still believed he was Booker instead of Comstock, and eventually Elizabeth hunts him down so that he can be broken and feel what she felt and then kill him by a Big Daddy who ends up killing him. It's basically hey, do you remember this stuff from BioShock 1? While also loosely tying in some Booker, Comstock, Elizabeth stuff. And the second episode, I played it and I barely remember what it was about. I think it was something to do with this little sister, and then it ties it into the plot of the first BioShock. And it ends up that Elizabeth was actually the one who brought down the plane that put that Jack in the water to find the White House in the first BioShock, or something like that. It was this weird full circle thing.
I'm just happy that Booker DeWitt was an actual like protagonist and it wasn't a silent protagonist.
Yeah, he wasn't just like Jack. I was like, okay.
Jack or Subject Delta. Because I like Subject Delta more than Jack, but it was just one of those, like, I'm happy they actually have a character that can be defined as opposed to, like, oh, they're just, like, you're supposed to be more engrossed in the game if they're a silent protagonist, which I find very stupid. Cause,
I've never agreed with that.
And at least the silence of Subject Delta made sense because he was a big daddy, but, like, the fact that Jack was silent the whole time, I was like...
That's my thing. Is I don't like that. I don't like that.
I'm trying to think
Jack.
of a game that had a silent protagonist.
Half-Life, first one, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah. Gordon Freeman doesn't speak, and then Doom Guy. I will say he's the only one that like I actually do like as a silent protagonist because he's just so pissed off.
He just doesn't care.
And the new Doom game is like there's like this computer is like, hey, you have to stop right now, and then he just grabs the screen and throws it, and then he just walks. And even in the new like Doom Eternal, there's like this one guy like sitting at his desk, and then when Doom Guy walks into a room. Everyone's like, "Oh God!" And then and my favorite thing, he doesn't even acknowledge anybody really. He's just like, he's like, "Demons, gonna kill him." And like, he'll walk through, and there's like one guy with like his tag on his like a tag. He's like wearing like on like a lanyard over his neck.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh fuck!" And Doom Guy just like looks at him and just like grabs the lanyard and then drags the guy across the room to like scan it, and he just drops him. Because he's just
Doom Guy.
That is like my favorite thing. Because that's the only time a silent protagonist has been like, oh, he's just like too mad to speak. I'm like, that's great.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, and he's like, and then anytime there's like a demon, I just love the image of all the demons. Like the moment Doom Guy enters the room, they're like, oh shit, God.
And that's sort of what Doom is all about. Is just like you are.
The Slayer,
basically
sovereign over all these demons, and you're just gonna kill all of them.
Well, I just love the one thing where someone is just like, where there's this giant, like the Titan that lives in hell, and there's this one moment where it was like said, and there's like those big areas in the game where you can like listen to Doom Guy's backstory, and there's this gigantic skull that you can like that like is like in the distance. And it's just this colossal creature called the Titan, I believe it was. And they said that Doom Guy just, like, beat the shit out of him. That's my favorite thing. I don't even think he shot or anything. I think he just, like, kicked the living shit. I'm like, that's great. I mean, there's a fact that there's, like, a power-up in the game where you just drop your guns and you just, like, have your fists and you just kill. I'm like, oh, well, that's good. They should just make a movie about him where the entire time he's like...
The best explanation is basically Doom Guy is just a silent Kratos. Like old Kratos.
No, it's perfect.
Silent old Kratos, yeah.
In fact, they had to lock him up just so he didn't, like, they couldn't even kill him. Like, fuck, just get him away.
Get him out
Jesus
of here.
Christ.
Just go to hell, kill some demons, and never see us again.
But yeah, and then so wrapping up on.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I was good. I need to play Doom again. I have it on my Switch. I just haven't played it. But yeah, that was it for BioShock. Really, it concludes my marathon of all of them. But I also beat Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Ooh.
This game, okay, so there will be some slight light spoilers, ones that we already talked about, so you're good.
Okay.
Nothing that is too big. I promise there's nothing that will ruin the story. Yeah.
I will probably play it over the break, so
Yeah.
I might have a brief review.
Yeah, I'll probably
when
play
I
it
come
over
back.
break, too.
The game itself, and I'm probably doing the same thing with Death Stranding, but it's you play as an all new character, Cal Kestis.
Yeah.
He's basically Luke Skywalker, but not.
He's Luke Skywalker if Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
He's Luke Skywalker if he was Luke Skywalker as a Padawan during Order 66.
So, do you guys want to hear about plot first or gameplay first?
I'll go from worst to best.
Okay. For me personally, the gameplay was not my highlight. It's not bad.
Okay.
I'm just not much of a Dark Souls type combat guy.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Was like we were kind of
straight up Dark Souls combat.
Yeah, we were sort of sold that sort of like maybe more platinum-y action kind of ideal where it's
interesting
like,
for a Star Wars.
Like you would expect more fast-paced action, but it's like you come across three stormtroopers and you're spending like 10 minutes.
So like stormtroopers are like regular stormtroopers or like one-hit kills.
Okay, I was gonna say
the ones that have the batons, there's like electric batons. Those will take a couple more hits, and you've got to really parry them. This game is all about parrying. I've
played a game that deals with a lot of parrying.
This game is almost entirely parrying. I ended up doing a lot of blocking, but It's almost all parry. And when you get to the Purge Troopers, which are stormtroopers designed specifically for hunting Force users and like surviving Jedi, they'll have like there's different kinds of Purge Troopers. There's some with electric batons. There's one with like this giant hammer. There's one that has a gun and like these electric grenades. The ones that have the batons, you're going to spend some time fighting those. And of course, you have the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors are your boss fights, really.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
There's only 2 Inquisitors in here. One is the main villain, and one is essentially we need a boss fight, but we can't have you beat the main villain yet, so we gotta have another boss fight.
We need an Inquisitor here.
I'm just amazed that EA, one of the worst companies on the planet, made a single player game. Like, I mean, that's incredible that they actually did that.
Well,
that's what amazed me with this game is it's a single player, no multiplayer, no microtransactions, just single player focused story game. The only real technical issues I had with it were I think it could have used a couple more months of polish. I
saw some of that.
A lot of instances of texture pop in to the point where it was ridiculous at some points.
Oh, so
like there was
Scrolls type.
Yeah, like it was there was one like the part that was like seriously that got me is I was on I can't remember what planet this was. But this game is a lot about exploring. It's very similar in terms of exploration to the 2018 God of War and Uncharted. Very similar to those.
Oh, okay.
It's basically those games mixed with Dark Souls combat.
Well, I did see a lot of Uncharted stuff in the... I've been staying away from trailers as much as I can, even though they keep, we've discussed this. But I've only seen one legitimate trailer, and that was the E3 trailer, I think, this year. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm seeing a lot of Uncharted type gameplay.
And that's, I think that's what they were going for.
Right.
And I think conspiracy theory hat on for this again. I think EA, in terms of the marketing, almost kind of sent this game out to die almost. Because
why would you release a Star Wars game against Pokemon?
Well, that, and I think also part of it, they've done this with Respawn numerous times, and I hate how they just send Respawn games, because they did it with Titanfall 2. That game was great, and they just sent that out between Call of Duty and Battlefield. Like, this game's going to get buried.
I mean,
why do they do
Jedi?
That?
I don't know.
Jedi still sold. It was the second best-selling game of that weekend.
Yeah, like, it's sold great. I think this game was just... Like, it's a single-player focused game, and the marketing was basically... It didn't show the depth that the game
has. The marketing
has.
is crap for this game.
Yeah, it was... But the game, in terms of technical issues, there was one... I was swinging around in this exploration, and I landed in this new area. But almost none of the textures loaded in. And so, like, it looked like this, like...
Just standing in, like, this blank space.
I was standing in this area, but it was, like, PS1 level graphics. Like, none of the textures had loaded in, but I couldn't see the door, so I had no idea how to get out. So I was just trapped in this area, and I had to reload the last checkpoint because I had no way of getting out.
That's annoying.
Like, there was that, and then, of course, there's some cutscenes where it'll start for a second, and it chugs a bit before it gets into it. Like, the cuts, like, some hair will not load in, or that. It only takes, like, 3 seconds tops, but it's still noticeable when you're in this big action scene, and you're like, okay, this is going to happen in this cutscene, and then it takes a second to get into it. But I can forgive these technical issues for the likable cast. This is some of the most likable Star Wars characters in a long time.
Wow.
And now, you know my issues on the new trilogy. I liked this crew more than any of the new characters in the new trilogy.
Wow. It's high praise.
Seer is a really interesting character. She's basically the mentor figure for Cal.
Okay.
I'd like to see an entire game just about her backstory. She's fascinating.
Neat.
The Night Sister, there's a Night Sister in this game, but that's in the marketing, so that's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
Her name is Marin. She's badass. She's great to check out. She's cool. Check out her character on the Star Wars wiki pages, because she has an interesting backstory too.
Okay. Neat.
Graphically, the game, at least when it looks good, it looks great. Like, there's the opening sequence on Braca.
Yeah.
Cal starts off as like a ship scavenger, and so they have all these crashed ships from the Clone Wars, and they're cutting them down and scrapping them, and they basically said like, man, those Clone Wars were something fierce, huh? And he goes like, yeah, because he was there. I mean, it was but it was they reference all that and the Inquisitors.
That's cool.
I will say they do a great job of tying this in with the canon. They don't have any of the Inquisitors that were in Rebels, because if they beat any of the Inquisitors that were in Rebels timeline, that wouldn't have made any sense.
Yeah.
It's just the second sister and the ninth sister. The ninth sister is not much of a character. She's in like two scenes.
Okay.
The second sister is probably the most interesting Inquisitor we've had by this point. She actually is a character, unlike the ones in Rebels.
The ones in Rebels are kind of do feel like video game bosses.
Yeah.
I mean, season one
traditional,
right? Season 1 Rebels. I thought the Inquisitor was I don't even know.
He was the Grand Inquisitor.
The Grand Inquisitor. I thought he was a fine villain. But after that, they were kind of treated as like side people, and
like that one in Twilight of the Apprentice. I think it was the 8th brother. They don't even. He just comes on screen and dies.
Star Wars Rebels is a Disney XD show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard about it. I've
great show.
It starts off a bit rough, but it does get really good.
Yeah.
Season 1 is very much a kids show.
Yeah.
Seasons 2 through 4 are, even though there are kid episodes, it's pretty strong, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 3 is great.
Season 3, and then that finale of Season 2 is some of the best Star Wars ever.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars, that's coming out like next...
Yeah, the final season.
February.
Yeah. But
we're getting close.
This game, it ties in to this canon really well. It's really interesting to see a game 5 years after Revenge of the Sith, because usually the games stories between 3 and 4 are just like 2 years before A New Hope.
Right.
This one is like right after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And
which is cool. It's cool to see something that's like taking sort of almost directly after Order 66 what's happening.
What's interesting to see is it deals, and I haven't seen this in Star Wars before, but it deals with Cal's survivor's guilt after surviving Order 66.
That's cool.
And like, I did not expect that, but it basically seems like it's him feeling guilty that he survived Order 66 and all these other Jedi did not.
Yeah.
I've never really seen that in Star Wars before, other than a little bit with Obi-Wan. But it's really interesting to see the path that Cal goes on, and also this is we talked about this earlier. There's slight spoiler, but you see Order 66 happen from his perspective as a Padawan in a flashback,
which is really cool.
And it is just like. It starts off. You're running around trying to meet your master, and you're talking to the clones, and like, oh hey Cal, what's up? And they're just talking to you, and you're clearly friends with all these clones,
right?
Yeah. And then you're talking with your master, who's actually the same species as Zeb from Rebels. He's a Lasat.
Oh,
his master.
Oh, really? That's cool.
He talks to Master T'Pol, and he's like, we're leaving for Megiddo soon, get prepared. And then he goes, hold on, we have orders real quick. And then this clone looks around in the background, and he pulls out the message, and it's Sidious going, execute order. And then, but it's in the background, so you know it's happening, but you're not listening to it. And then all of a sudden, Master T'Pol, he knows that thing that Yoda did in Revenge of the Sith, where he can feel it in the Force.
It's the Spidey sense.
Yeah, where he can feel in the Force, stuff's going down, and he just, and then everything just goes nuts. And it's... You're playing as this terrified kid as Order 66 is happening.
I'm sold now. I gotta get this game.
It's only in one scene.
Well, just for that scene, I mean.
Yeah, and it's really emotional, and you can feel, even though it's graphically the expressions are not as great.
Yeah,
you can feel the emotion of just this kid being terrified that all of his friends. Because the clones were his friends. You can see that.
Right.
That he's like, I don't know why this is happening. All my friends just started shooting at my master, and they're hunting him, and it's just this really emotional scene that of this kid not understanding why all of a sudden all of his allies have turned on him and his master.
Well,
I think it's fascinating.
I think ever since Episode 3 release, I think there's always been this running joke of,
execute Order 66.
Execute Order 66.
And it's basically just a Thanos snap on the Jedi.
Right, and but we've all kind of felt with that joke, this is there's some undertones here that's...
Well, and the clones didn't really have a choice. People don't realize this. It's not like the clones just got the order to say, okay, cool. It was a chip in their head that made them do it. They didn't have a choice.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that was...
It's it programmed during their cloning or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
So I'm going to be asking you,
what's
Order 66?
So have you seen Revenge of the Sith?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's basically Sidious gave the order to the clone troops after they had a chip in their head to kill all of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
That's basically Order 66 was the order to kill the Jedi.
Was it the one where Anakin kills some kids?
Yeah,
that was part of Order 66.
Okay, I remember that.
That was a part of Order
66. From what I'm gathering is, even though he's not exactly a kid, he's close to being. He's probably a teenager. If I ever guess.
The scene.
Yeah.
He's probably about like maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, then he is a kid, and we're kind of getting that perspective.
Yeah, you basically get the perspective of a kid during Order 66.
I think that's really cool.
But I should clarify, it's not at the Jedi Temple. You're on like a Star Destroyer outside of another planet.
I mean, if it was on the Jedi Temple, the odds of
survival are slim.
The odds of survival are not very good right now.
But it's also interesting because you know when this scene happens what is happening like in Revenge of the Sith, like with Anakin. So like he's marching on the Jedi Temple as this scene is occurring, and you're just like, I know what's happening, and this is like distressing. And like I knew when I got into that scene, I knew what was happening as soon as we got in there, and I was my whole time I was like, I know what's coming, and I'm not ready for this.
I know what's gonna happen.
But the game. All the characters have so much depth that I wasn't expecting there to have. And like, there's a lot of like Grease, the captain. He's of the ship. He's just like this. He's like the comedy relief character, but he's not just all one-liners. Like he clearly has lines where he's like, "Just be safe out there, kid," or something like this. Where he's just
he actually cares.
This crew that actually is trying to, I guess,
take care of each other.
I won't say what the general plot is because the marketing hasn't really said what the plot of the game is, so I'll avoid that. But the Order 66 thing, I had to mention because that was
what was really cool. Like, I wasn't super impressed by the E3 demo, but like you said with sort of the ties to canon, I thought what they did with tying in that guy from Rogue One.
Oh yeah, I was about to mention. I just didn't want to say too much, but it's in the marketing.
Yeah,
Saw Gerrera, he's Forrest Whitaker's character.
Yeah.
And,
that's right. I knew about that. Never mind.
Which is really wild.
Basically, you jump in and you're helping to liberate Kashyyyk from the Empire, he's on Kashyyyk helping you.
Is it voiced by Forrest?
Yeah, he's
actually
really
shit.
Yeah. I was looking at the credits and I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. But
That's
I'm
really
shocked
cool.
that they got him. I'm shocked they got him for that. I mean, that shows you. I mean, he's probably a Star Wars fan.
No, and they probably also paid him a ton of money too.
Almost.
But it's I thought that was interesting, and then of course I have to mention this when Vader pops up. Oh, this is a scene where like he is a presence. Like they don't even. He's not even really a person. He's just a force of nature in this scene. He just comes in. It's like, and I'm so glad that they didn't devalue the character, because this was what I was worried about with Rebels too, and Rebels didn't make this mistake where I was like, if this Padawan and this Jedi who never even reached knight status are going to beat Darth Vader or somehow survive, it has to be just barely. And that's what they did in this game. Is Vader comes in and it's not them fighting, it's just them running. It's like, we know we can't beat him, we just gotta go. Like you can't. Cool. Like it's like they're basically
the Rogue One music at the
It's basically them just barely escaping. Like I mean and of course the music from the Order 66 scene happens, so it's like this like dark foreboding music as Vader, he's not running, he's just walking forward, and you're just like no
that's scary.
I'm gonna die.
And like when he comes on screen, when like the lightsaber ignites, it like vibrates your controller when he ignites, and like the breathing comes out, and then there's like the force, like you can feel the actual like him, like he lifts up this entire thing and just like it's
chucks it at you.
Yeah, it's Vader is a force to be reckoned with in this, and I do like how they used him sparingly. I won't explain where he is or why he comes in, but based on where he is, it makes sense as to why Vader is there, and it's not like he was actively hunting our protagonist.
Go ahead.
How's the voice acting?
Voice acting is
for Vader.
For Vader, he doesn't really have very many lines. It's clearly not James Earl Jones. But it's
so it's probably the one I know.
It was really only maybe a couple voice lines. He's not really in the game for more than 15 minutes.
Okay. I especially just, I mean, I don't know. I watched Rogue One. I didn't really know much about it, but I will say the best scene in that was Darth Vader when he came in, and it's actually just so shocking seeing him in the original movies and then seeing him in that, because he's like a fucking god.
That's what's interesting about post-original trilogy Vader is, in the original trilogy, you can forgive them because the tech just wasn't there yet.
Right.
But he compared to a lot of the stuff in the prequels, he feels like an absolute joke. Well, and like post, but sort of once they have actually gotten to portray Vader in things that aren't tied down by that old like 70s 80s tech, he's like a real sort of you get why he was powerful.
I agree with you on 4. I think in the original movie, in A New Hope, the tech there he didn't really feel as threatening. I think in Empire and Jedi he does.
In Empire he
like when he decides...
I'm saying like compared to the prequel trilogy, he doesn't feel nearly on the level of somebody like Darth Maul.
In terms of this, like, oh crap.
Yeah, like you see him and it's like, oh, he's just like the bad guy leader. Like he doesn't feel as dangerous as, like a Darth Maul or Count Dooku, something like that.
Well, I think it's more dangerous than Count Dooku. I mean, Count Dooku was not as much of a presence.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I don't mean to stomp in on this. I just may have to head out.
Oh, okay. You gotta head out now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I interrupted right now.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
No, let's go ahead and say thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, I really do appreciate it. I really do. It's been a really different experience for me, so it's actually been fun. And I appreciate you guys not getting mad at me for
you
get 18 things to talk about. But no, really, man, it's been very interesting.
Good.
And yeah, I mean, it's been fun, guys. It's nice meeting you. I'll be heading out, and Caleb, I'll see you next time.
Yeah,
I'll
see you next time. Have you back sometime.
Yeah, I would love to come back. Yeah, honestly, if I'm ever in town and you guys are doing this, I'll let Caleb know, and he can definitely just talk to you guys.
For sure, man.
Okay, absolutely.
Do you know the layout all good? Or
oh, yeah, I think I'll be pretty good, but I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no worries, man. Okay.
Thanks, man.
See ya. You too.
See you around.
See ya.
Well, so I think we on Jedi. I think there isn't really much I have left to say, but overall, I thought the game was interesting, worth a watch, and if you wanted to watch all the cutscenes, it's only about 3 hours.
Okay, it's not bad.
Yeah,
not as good as Spider-Man, which it's the best. It's even. It's the best Spider-Man movie if you watch the cutscenes, but still 3 hours isn't so bad.
Debatable.
That is debatable.
Okay.
But
yeah, that about wraps it up for Jedi Fallen Order. Play the game; it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got a couple bugs, but the story's great and the gameplay's fun.
Yeah, it is an American AAA story game.
So. Yeah. What I'm gathering is when we all play it, there's going to be a spoiler review.
I guess.
Sometime.
I'm down.
Ahmad's not going to play it no matter how much we want him to, though.
That's awesome.
I will say, don't go in expecting a lot of ties into the future of Star Wars.
I'm looking more forward to some neat Star Wars set pieces than I am to the lore, I guess.
Also, the villain is a fascinating villain.
Neat.
You can see it coming from a mile away in the twist, but
okay.
It's interesting.
So I'm. We sort of skipped over this during news. I forgot to mention it, but Kingdom Hearts 3's DLC was they had a concert in Japan, which know one of these days hopefully I will get to go to one of these concerts.
Music's honestly,
music's like music. The top. Like the second favorite part of any Kingdom Hearts game.
Did you see my Twitter, Sawyer?
I don't know. I might have.
My Spotify Wrapped, my number one artist was Project Testati.
Oh, that's fun.
And I clocked in 88 hours
of just listening to Project Testati's remixes of Kingdom Hearts music. Yeah. Well, and that should say something about their. The compositions for these games are incredible. But anyways, so there was a concert, and Tetsuya Nomura was there, and he laid out a few things. He laid out some really neat customization options for difficulty, sort of making it as easy or as hard as you want to, which is really cool. They're adding like a sort of photo gallery idea where you can like pose all of the characters in different ways and take pictures with them, which is the more features the better as far as I'm concerned.
Because the photo mode was actually not half bad
in the
game, which I thought I wouldn't like because it's kind of like it's kind of too
it feels like every game has one,
right?
And it's just shoehorned in, but it's actually used fairly well.
I'm surprised Jedi Fallen Order didn't have a photo mode. It should have one, but it doesn't.
Interesting.
I guess
Anyways,
if he had like a droid. Oh, sorry.
He does have a droid.
Well, yeah.
I was gonna say he does have a
droid could
droid.
literally just take pictures.
Right.
That's what droids do, is just take pictures for their entire existence.
I should also say that BD-1 is a close. I don't mean to hijack yours, but BD-1 is as much of an iconic, cute character as Baby Yoda is. Like,
Oh wow.
BD-1 needs to be protected at all times. Like, he is an iconic character.
Just needs a Jedi around.
He's
him.
basically like a robot puppy, and he's really good.
That's cool. But then Tetsuya Nomura, they didn't show a trailer for Kingdom Hearts Rebind, which
is going to be at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I know you're disappointed about this, but he did say the trailer is coming in December, and apparently, usually you would suspect any Kingdom Hearts thing to come out in December would be at Jump Fest, but it's not at Jump Fest. Square Enix recently released their their plans for Jump Fest. Kingdom Hearts 3 is nowhere to be found. Now, that basically guarantees that, like you said, the Game Awards. But, you know what we're also getting at the Game Awards is definitely a new Smash character.
Yeah.
Now, I would have said, a month ago, I would have said probably Doom Guy or Lloyd Irving were the two front runners.
He did say that.
Those have both been deconfirmed by fairly credible leakers.
Yeah. Doom Guy, I think he's just too violent of a character. I don't think Nintendo will let him
I think he's both too violent and how do you portray that character in Smash Brothers?
Yeah,
any first-person shooter character is kind of hard.
Yeah, I think he's one of those characters where, I think people are wondering, if we're talking strictly video game characters, Doom Guy is just the same thing with the try to put, a Mortal Kombat character in there. They're just too violent. Nintendo is not going to let them be in there.
I've said it before. If Sora's in Smash, or if they're making a Kingdom Hearts game for the Switch, I'm getting a Switch.
I think there's a possibility we get a Resident Evil character. Because
I would have agreed with you until they, for one thing, Capcom already has 3 representatives, which is it's fine for a company to have more than 3 reps. I don't really care about that, but Sega kind of has 3 reps, and I don't see them having another.
Mm-hmm.
They have
Sonic, Bayo, and
Bayo's
Joker.
Also kind of a Nintendo one.
No,
too.
she's a Sega character.
She's Sega, but it's a Nintendo exclusive.
We've had this discussion several times. But Joker is also technically a Sega character because Atlas is owned by Sega. So, and I believe there was in Sonic Forces. There was the customizable character stuff.
Yeah,
Sonic Forces.
Didn't play Sonic Forces.
There was character customization in Sonic Forces, and they had some Persona stuff like that, which is cool. But yeah, also in the Persona 5 dancing game, you know how in Persona 5 there's that cat that's the star, the mascot of Persona 5 is a talking cat.
Sure.
The mascot of Persona 5 is a talking cat.
Okay.
And in the Persona 5 dancing game, there's a costume that's just a Sonic costume. So, some crossover. So I would believe that, except for the fact that Resident Evil just got a spirit event in the game.
It did?
Yeah. And so, spirits, if you don't know, in the new Smash Brothers game are basically accessories you put on your character that are other characters. They're the spirits of other characters that are helping the Smash characters proper do their thing.
I just think Leon would be so perfect. Leon would be a perfect Smash.
Leon would be cool. And, I don't necessarily hate the idea, but I want Sora.
Yeah.
And
do you think that'll mean that we get a Kingdom Hearts port to Switch?
Well, I've wanted the collection on Switch for a long time. I think that would be a good fit. But there's also the chance that there's a new Kingdom Hearts project on Switch, because they've done that before, where there was like, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 were on PS2, but a bunch of games that took place like between and after Kingdom Hearts 2 were on like DS, PSP, 3DS, and now they're all ported to PS4, so you can Android. At least you can experience all of the stories on PS4.
Right.
But I don't know how well they would run on Switch either. Like, Switch is the best version of Kingdom Hearts 2 is on PS4, and that's because there are no load times, and the game is running at 60, so it's butter smooth. Like, one of my favorite games of all time, basically just cranked up to 11, and Switch wouldn't be able to pull that off because it's more like a PS3.
Yeah.
It's sort of like as high caliber as PS4 in terms of like the actual quality of the tech, but the sacrifices that they have to make means it can basically only run games that are like at PS3 levels, which is fine, but it's not going to be the best version. But yeah, that's my speculation, is Nomura basically confirming a Game Awards trailer for Kingdom Hearts Remind, and the fact that all of these characters that I would have thought would be at the top of the list are in effect not happening. Like, these people were right about like Ridley, the Belmonts, Incineroar, Ken, like, these people have the credibility to say, for me to be able to say, like, look, if these guys don't think they're in, then they're not in. Like,
right.
And that puts Sora at the top for me.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my only thing is, and this is more of a fear than anything.
I'm afraid.
I only think we're only going to get one. I think we're either going to get that Sora announcement for Smash, or we're not going
Kingdom Hearts on Switch.
Well, I think.
Oh, you think
just in general?
It either happens or it doesn't?
Because I think that Square Enix also has an actual game that they're probably going to want to advertise at the Game Awards, and that's Final Fantasy Remake, and I think
Cloud's
7 Remake. What?
Cloud's already in the game?
Well, yeah, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Game Awards and the amount of advertisements.
Square's going to want to focus on that.
Their focus is on that, so I don't think they're... But then again, you think about, Nintendo wants to show off their stuff, so
yeah.
I think there's a high possibility that we get both, and I think we pretty much know that trailer is going to drop next week.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting. I really want, with this trailer, this is wishing too much, okay? This ain't going to happen. But I really want is, like, that trailer drops, and it's like, go online now to purchase.
That would be kind of wild.
Yeah.
It could be done.
I think
they've been working on the DLC for like
almost a year,
months now. When did Kingdom Hearts came out?
Like
January.
January. So they've had 10 months to work on this. They already have like their engine built out. Like,
I have never seen a game where the DLC takes this long to make. Like, it's...
it is only sort of DLC because like now digital distribution is a thing, because Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix is basically just DLC for Kingdom Hearts 2, but it's, they had, because you can't patch a game, they had to
release the game again.
Yeah, they had to re-release it again, and so now we're probably gonna get. It's probably gonna be like a $30 expansion that fleshes out. Like this DLC is gonna give Kingdom Hearts 3 a proper end game, which is great.
Yeah.
Like the quote unquote secret boss in that game is a joke.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I haven't defeated him, the secret boss yet, but that's just because I haven't gone back to the game fully. Well, actually, I should say that I beat the game, but when you're on standard, you can't technically beat a secret boss unless you're like, if you've been playing your cards right.
What do you mean?
Well,
no, the secret boss isn't even a secret boss. It's just like you go to one of the areas and there's an orb that you look at and it says, do you want to fight the secret boss? And you're like, yeah, sure. I'll fight the secret boss.
Okay,
and then you whoop the secret boss because he's a joke.
Yeah, and, I mean, even when I'm in standard mode, I get him down to like 3/4 of the way, and I haven't had the energy to actually legitimately fight the boss.
Yeah.
Like every time when I do it,
it's not even an interesting piece of lore. It's just like, here's a big heartless guy.
Well, there might be. If you go down the ephemer
no
route.
No, don't give them credit. Don't give them credit on the Dark Inferno. He's not interesting. He's just a big ball of darkness that hits you and you hit him back, and that's
every time you mention that, it makes me think of that supercut you showed me in the lab of just every time they say darkness in a Kingdom Hearts game. It's like a 10-minute video.
It's like over 400 times across all the games.
It's like a 10-minute video of them going darkness, 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 darkness.
And that's not even including 3, I bet.
No, it's not. It's from like 2011 or something like that.
Oh, wow, that's like half the games.
Maybe not 2011, maybe more like 2014. Anyways, yeah, I mean, that's kind of it for me. I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. I'm excited for, I think Sakurai is competent enough to include anybody that I would be excited. Mm-hmm. Like, if I don't get Sora, the next on my list is, like, Phoenix Wright. And then it's, like, anybody after that is sort of fair game.
Before we jump into... I know what your topic's going to be.
Yeah. Before
we jump into that, do we want to briefly mention what we think is going to get announced at Game Awards?
Let's do it. Brief Game Awards predictions.
Aside from the obvious, I know Resident Evil 3 Remake's probably going to get announced.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably going to get maybe an announcement in Fable 4. But definitely Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, Resident Evil 3 is definitely happening. I think Square Enix just opened the Nier 10th anniversary website. Mm-hmm. So I think we get announcement, because it's been 2 years since Automata. So I would assume we get an announcement for
a remaster of
some kind of new project, or a remaster of Nier, or something related to that. The franchise is legendary enough now that Automata has come out, to where it's like they can't just not do something with the franchise anymore. So,
and I also had another prediction. There was a prediction. I don't know. It was somebody, I can't remember. It was a reputable source, but I can't remember which one. Yeah. Said there was a likelihood that we get some kind of Metroid announcement. That it would either be.
But Metroid is only a year in development now.
Oh, not Metroid Prime 4. It'd be supposedly there's a secret,
some kind of Metroid thing.
Supposedly there is a secret Samus Returns type remake for Super Metroid for the Switch. Kind of like what they did. Now, basically, it's what Samus Returns was for Metroid 2, but for
Super Metroid.
Super Metroid, and there's also possibly a secret announcement of Metroid Prime Trilogy Remaster on the Switch.
That'd be cool.
So one of those two things is supposedly like stealth announcement that Nintendo has that they're just sitting on.
Maybe I'll actually play a Metroid game now.
Yeah. But supposedly I think it might have been Kotaku that was talking about this, but supposedly there's 2 Nintendo announcements of Metroid announcements that Nintendo's been sitting on just waiting to unveil. That could also be a wait for next Direct or something. But I think Game Awards is the more preferable audience for Metroid, because you're going to get all that hype from
you're gonna get Jeff Keighley just gushing during
you get 3 games. It's just gonna be
Caleb, do you have any predictions?
I do.
What's your prediction?
That's the gasp, because I just remembered. We get the next Arkham.
Ooh, I know, like
that's a possibility,
like
for sure.
whatever Rocksteady is working on.
Yep.
Oh, you guys remember that Harry Potter game?
I was just about to say the Harry Potter.
Oh, the Harry Potter game.
What if they announce an open world Harry Potter game?
Yeah.
That'd be wild.
That would be wild.
It's fantastic beasts and how to find them. it's just Newt Scamander running around Britain.
Imagine they hype this up
beasts.
as like this big 3D open world Harry Potter game and ends up just being like a point and click. It's like it's this. Yeah.
That'd be amazing. I'd be okay. I would be okay with that. I wouldn't buy it, but I would be okay.
I also think there's a possibility we get a new Avengers trailer.
I
think so too. The only thing is
confirmed we get a new Avengers trailer.
That's the thing, though. You know, we got a lot of Square Enix stuff in this award show.
I'm telling you, man, Square Enix best quality control in video games. Like we don't.
Rockstar's got probably the best quality.
Well, they don't come out with as much releases.
Well, yeah, like they
got one game every 10 years.
Yeah, like Square Enix releases so many games that like come out and they feel like they actually put the work in to make it feel like a legit
an actual
product.
video game.
Yeah, when you were talking about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I was just like, man, wouldn't it be nice if American companies cared about quality control the way we do? I felt this way with Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, I liked what I've played of that game. I didn't like it a lot, but I liked it enough. And I would run up a rock and it wouldn't change the animation at all. It would just be, it's like I'd be running like in the current and the animation is exactly the same. And I'm just like, man, when I played Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, like it felt like every different terrain Link interacted with every different terrain the same. And that's because there are a lot of the AAA Japanese companies really take care to that sort of little detail that doesn't necessarily change the core gameplay, but it just makes it feel
like a Death Stranding. Like that's really what that whole game is.
Yeah, like and Square Enix is definitely a part of that. Like I would say Final Fantasy 15 is the only one that I've played that feels sort of like
Final Fantasy 14 also had.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 launched that way too, but ever since, Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, no technical issues.
No. Not that I spotted.
Like the game is the game works and is like as well polished as Kingdom Hearts 2 was. Mm-hmm. And like that's what people were so ashamed about when Pokemon was coming out, was like the tech here. Like Kingdom Hearts 2 was doing some of this tech better back in 2006 on the PS2, and now you have the Switch and it's just like you climb a ladder and the entire overworld freezes and it's just like,
oh no,
wow.
I think like there's really the only American studio that I can think of that pays that attention to quality detail would be Naughty Dog.
Yeah, Naughty Dog. Yeah, and people love them for it.
Yeah.
And I like it. I trust, and I think that like Square Enix was a good fit for Crystal Dynamics because they have like the good core stuff, but then Square Enix's quality control comes in and says, "Hey, look, you gotta make you gotta like do this, and Tomb Raider will be like 10 times better just on this one little thing." And I think
Tomb Raider games are
like
the most recent
new ones have been great. Yeah. I only played the 2013 one, but I loved that one.
I've played the 2013 one and the Rise of the Tomb Raider, but I have not played Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yeah. It's the only one I haven't played.
I've heard it was good. It was just very much the same as like the previous two. It didn't do anything new. But.
So, anyways, we are 2 hours in, and Caleb hasn't gotten his topic yet.
But we need to talk about this.
We need to talk about this.
Like the shows, we have been hyping this conversation to happen.
Yes.
Since
For
it
like
happened.
5 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
It has arrived.
It has
It's
arrived.
Crisis has arrived.
Crisis has arrived.
Crisis
I'm so
on
pumped.
Infinite Earths.
Man, it's,
We
so long,
excluded
it's finally here.
we excluded this from the news topic, but a trailer dropped on. It was the same day as Black Widow.
Right.
Like, what's wild about it to me is that if you had told me that the Arrowverse starting in 2012 was gonna build up
To this.
to an Infinity War sort of level of hype and sort of scale, I would not have believed you. I think it's kind of wild that they have managed to use Arrow as the centerpiece of Crisis, because, like, you know, if you told somebody, like, hey, if they were going to adapt Crisis, who would be the main characters? And the first thing people would say is, like, okay, you got Superman, Batman, Supergirl, and Flash.
Yep.
Are like the four characters that you would think of. And the fact that Green Arrow is at the center.
Granted, they've kind of basically turned Green Arrow into Batman. Like, he's not.
Yeah,
the
That's
same.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the entirety of, like, the first two seasons of Arrow is just a Dark Knight adaptation.
Like, I mean, I as much as I enjoy that show, the Green Arrow that we get in, like, Injustice 2 is like the true Green Arrow. As much as, like, and I enjoy both interpretations, but to me, Green Arrow is the one we get in, like, Injustice.
Yeah, I agree. This one is much more like Batman, but we're actually getting Kevin Conroy as
Oh my gosh,
Batman,
I'm so excited.
which is really cool.
I cannot like stop thinking about Kevin Conroy being live action Batman
Finally,
next week.
Like, putting on the suit.
Just thinking about that, I'm like, oh man, I hope he. One of the things that I was like, if he doesn't say Oracle at least once in this thing, I'm going to be so disappointed. But
I hope we get at least one, and I know what's going to happen, but I hope we get at least one of those, like, hero shots like they did in Invasion, where they have everybody. I think, and I made a list on my phone, I'll have to show it to you later, but, like, a list of all the heroes who will not be appearing in Crisis. And there isn't very many. It's like, obviously the ones they've killed off, like, Firestorm is not going to come back.
Yeah.
But, like, there isn't, but there's also potential because it's a multiverse. So
it is a multiverse.
I'm sure there's some surprises they've got up their sleeve.
Odds that somebody from the DC movieverse shows up.
my real estate's still on Ezra Miller, if anybody.
I would believe you. If somebody from the future told me that Ezra Miller was going to be in Crisis, I would believe them.
That, and I think in terms of who would be the coolest guy to do it, I think if he could, Henry Cavill would. I think if he could, he would.
See, that's the thing, though. We got a lot of Supermans already on screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and, you know, you don't have to necessarily separate the two, but the Crisis on Infinite Earths is definitely pointing towards, like, a tribute to DC TV.
Yeah.
Like, it's taking more... It's, like, both a tribute to DC TV and trying to do a literal adaptation of the comics.
Yeah.
I also think we're going to get Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter's supposedly in it.
Yeah. Oh, is she?
Supposedly she's in it.
Okay,
because she was already on Supergirl. So
right. Yeah. That's why I'm like. Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
A high real estate on that.
I am slightly concerned with Crisis that, like, with it being. I mean, it's also basically going to be a 5-hour movie.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping they don't make the same mistake that Invasion did, where it was just like each episode of Crisis, like, it's like an episode of that show individually, but also being part of the crossover. Yeah. I want them to do it like Crisis on Earth X, where it was basically just like 4 broken up individual segments.
I will say
the one I hope that they do what they did with Crisis on Earth X, but not make the Legends episode feel like a Legends episode.
Yeah, like because what I'm slightly concerned is from that trailer, like the Supergirl stuff just looks like a Supergirl episode.
Yeah,
like I'm like no,
I
like
think,
I'm concerned
in
about
the
that.
trailer.
Yeah, like when they show Argon getting destroyed.
Okay, well that though, that's a big moment.
Yeah,
She just saw Krypton die a second time. That's a big moment.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad moment. I'm just saying like I'm like part of it. I'm like because I read like the plot descriptions, and the first one basically seems like it's a Supergirl episode featuring Flash and Arrow.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm like
well,
I'm
but
hoping
it
it's
is
not that.
like the people on Earth 1 are like they get transported to that world. I think is like the way that it works.
I also
so,
think Crisis, if it's going to have a main character, I think it needs to be Oliver.
I think so too.
It's like, Oliver and Barry.
Yeah, because like I get it's like a Supergirl episode, but like I mean, granted I don't watch Supergirl. She's not really the one who's been leading to Crisis this whole time. To have it be like, okay, it's the start of Crisis, and Oliver's kind of hanging in the background. I'm like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Well, so the way that I look at this Crisis is that in the past 3 crossovers, especially Crisis on Earth X and Elseworlds, like that core trio of Oliver, Barry, and Kara are very well suited for each other in terms of like being the stars of crossovers. Like they interact so well with each other that I would be heartbroken if we didn't see that dynamic get played into a little bit more in this. And you just like you have a lot of other stuff going on in the background of like you get Kate Kane hanging out with Bruce. And
I think they're going to really team up with her and Kara because of the whole world's finest thing. They're going to basically do the Superman and Batman, but with Supergirl and Batwoman.
And then Kingdom Come Superman and Kingdom Come Batman are
Just I'm going just like burning the whole time.
I'm really excited for Brandon Routh as Superman. He was basically just playing Superman and Iron Man as the same character.
Can you imagine if they were both still around? If we got Adam West and Christopher Reeve in this?
Oh man, that would be wild.
That would have been so good.
Oh yeah.
Man. Now you're just disappointing me.
Now,
I wish that could have happened.
Now, I will say, you mentioned you don't. Both of you guys don't know what's going on over at Supergirl.
I know like a tiny bit about.
I know Lex Luthor's back. That's all I know.
Okay, would you mind?
You can spoil.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I am going into spoilers on this. If you haven't watched the most recent episode of Supergirl.
Okay.
Now, this season, I'm not giving a season review on the season so far. I'm giving this an overview on its road to crisis. This season hasn't directly shown its road to crisis, but in kind of a twist. I mean, okay, to backtrack, at the end of season 4, the Monitor shows up and he brings back Martian Manhunter's brother out of the Phantom Zone.
I remember that, yeah.
And then he revives Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot. When we get to season 5, it's all about the Supergirl main villain, but also at the same time Martian Manhunter's main villain, which is something that the show has been doing for, I would say, 2 to 3 years now. He's got his own villain.
Yeah.
It is his brother, and how he's been having to deal with that.
It doubles as kind of like a Supergirl and a Martian Manhunter show.
Right.
Seems like a bit of a General Zod type thing.
Yeah. And then, not to give anything away, but he ends up. Well, actually, it is giving it away. He ends up getting to his brother, and then they reach a common ground, and he's like,
okay.
I need you to go back to Mars to bring peace to this civil war that we've had for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And or hundreds. probably hundreds.
Probably more like hundreds.
And he goes off.
Yeah.
Well, right before that, he says, Martian Manhunter goes, "You're not a paragon. You're not meant to be a paragon," even though he doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
He says, "You're meant to do this."
He says that to Supergirl, or
he says that to his brother.
Okay.
So his brother goes off to Mars, and as soon as he goes off to Mars, guess who shows up in the background from the darkness?
Monitor.
It's the Monitor, and he's like,
Monitor.
"You've passed your test."
He's a good character.
Yeah.
So this
like
whole
the
entire
Monitor.
time, this whole entire season arc,
He's been just bringing things.
it has been the Monitor testing.
He's cosmic Nick Fury.
And I'm like, yes, make Martian Manhunter an integral character to Crisis.
Yeah.
And
I agree. Martian Manhunter's a very good idea that they need to use for Crisis.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I'm glad they're bringing Superman in full force for this.
Oh, yeah.
He's a key part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that in Elseworlds too. Like I rewatched Elseworlds recently, and the amount of Superman proper that you get is really effective.
That's like the one thing I don't love about Tyler Hoechlin Superman is I don't feel that like sheer force that he should have. Like the fact that all he has to do is just touch and it can just destroy it.
Yeah.
Like,
I
don't
mean,
feel that like
it's
presence.
definitely meant to like he's sidelined because of Supergirl's show. Like he's not.
Until he gets his own show.
In fairness, we did.
Yeah.
We only did see, like, in terms of his Superman, we've only technically really seen him in
like a few stories.
In a few stories, and they weren't really integral to showing off Superman's strength as much. Now I will say the time where I did feel actually Superman's strength was when he was taken over by
John Deegan, I think is his name.
Yeah, the guy from Elseworlds last year, and that was a kind of cool dynamic that they made him evil, but that's
but he
the
wasn't
problem.
Actually evil.
Yeah, you know.
Well, and if I remember correctly, because I kind of am a little bit loose in memory on Elseworlds, that whole thing was basically the Monitor testing them to make sure they were ready for Crisis. Right? Okay. So I think it's. I also think that like with Superman Power, no scene has matched up to that scene in Justice League where he's fighting pretty much the entire league at once. Like that scene is like, see what you will about Justice League. That scene is like, it shows how Superman is like, you can't beat him. Like it's
that moment where like Flash is running around and you just see his eye turn.
Oh yeah,
like it's very effective. I want to talk about just a little bit Arrow and Flash. In terms of, so they have been the most connected in terms of like the Monitors messing with both of them.
Oh yeah,
the ending of that episode of Flash hit me. I was like, oh, it's becoming.
It's interesting because like.
Well, and the whole Nash Wells thing.
Well, I'm talking specifically of like the clock strikes, and then like the sky like it has arrived. Like it's
pretty wild.
Yeah.
The thing is like. They're kind of tricking me. And I'm like...
They're playing mind games with us.
They're playing mind games because I'm legit thinking that Barry might die in this crossover.
Yeah.
Which is something that they're check-marking off their list because I said they have to trick me in order for me
They're saying it's like, oh, Oliver's just accepted it. It's happening. But like, because Oliver is like, I know this has to happen. And Barry's saying, I know it has to happen. But everybody's like... Oh, contracts are up. It's going to be Oliver.
Exactly.
That's too easy. They're going to think it's going to have to be Barry. It's got to be Barry.
I think
it'll be Barry. I think they're going to do like an Infinity War Endgame thing. I think in that third episode, the one before the couple weeks break, Barry's going to die. They're going to lose or something because they've been saying that trailer like the battle's lost.
That's my biggest problem with that trailer is it gives away just a little bit too much plot.
Yeah. I think they're going to lose, and then Oliver's going to have to do something. He's going to have to Tony Stark it to be able to bring everybody back and win in the last two episodes. Yeah. Especially since isn't the last episode an Arrow episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, actually, the crossover will be done on an Arrow episode, and then there's one more Arrow episode after that.
Yeah, is it Legends and then Arrow, or like in terms of like each episode of the shows, is it the last episode of Crisis? Is it an Arrow episode, or is it a Legends episode?
Well,
Because I know the
Supergirl,
last two are Legends
Batwoman,
and Arrow.
Flash, and then
Yeah, because it's Supergirl.
yeah,
and then
it would either be Legends or Arrow. I think it's Arrow.
Yeah, it makes sense for it to be Arrow.
It should be Arrow.
It ends with how it began, kind of.
Right.
It
Yeah.
makes sense. I think
I'd be cool with it flashback, like he dies and it flashbacks to Lian Yu and it's just him with like what's his name?
Yao Fei.
Yao Fei, Shadow, Slate, like all the people who were on the island with him, just hanging out.
Did you watch the most recent episode? Or is that
That was a great episode.
That episode.
Every time
was
I see
so
Yao
good.
Fei and Arrow,
Now,
I'm
I
so
didn't
happy.
understand why people were back alive again. Was it like the energy after Adrian?
Okay.
Or it was a monitor trick, probably.
No, well,
but
no.
It wasn't?
No.
Well, probably, but no.
Okay.
It's a thing where it's like undisclosed. So
Yeah.
Lian Yu has been having quote unquote energy spikes, whatever that means.
Ever since
Adrian Chase blew it up or something?
Oh, is that what
Adrian
it was?
Chase blew it up.
Okay.
Ever since that happened, and that's why Oliver goes, "Why is everything green right now?" And
I got so
because of that.
hyped. I got so hyped when I saw Fires again. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh man, this is happening.
I had to look him up on like the wiki pages. Like, who is that again? Like, it's been so many years since I
Yeah.
watched that first season.
Like the and it's a testament to sort of how much the show has changed
Yeah.
over time that like but like Oliver is still the same character
still-
that Edward or Eddie Fires or whatever his name is slides right back into the cast
Oh, yeah.
and like that portrayal is excellent. Yao Fei is excellent. Like
And can
I
we
was
talk about
sad
what
that-
they... Oh, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I just wanted to say it was sad that Yao Fei didn't really interact with anybody else. Like
I almost
think
thought he
it
was an
would've been great.
illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I almost think he is an illusion in that thing, but you know.
but then he actually like fights some guys.
Yeah.
We got to address what happened to Roy in that, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
did not see that coming.
Robot
Yeah,
hand.
well, that's
Yeah.
the Arsenal origin story.
All right.
Is,
Like, I don't
is-
know about Arsenal as much, but I always saw that, I was like, man, they're really going all out now. Like,
Yeah.
they're really...
I know they're at least mimicking what they did in Young Justice, because what they did was Roy Harper gets cloned. It's some conspiracy thing by the bad guys, and then the original Roy Harper wakes up and he doesn't have an arm, so he gets a metal one and becomes Arsenal.
And it's a fun Easter egg from as well. If he does get a robot arm, because Oliver in the future in the non-existent timeline anymore has a robot arm.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the other thing with these timelines, is that future that the kids came from no longer exists. Are
Right.
they going to get Marty McFly? Or, like, what's going to...
I think
don't
they're
know what's
gonna.
gonna
They're, we know that Mia's getting a show at this point.
I also think the
second to
monitor is
last
protecting them.
I think that second to last episode, from what I've heard, is basically a backdoor pilot for a show with
yeah.
them. So.
And so Mia, I would assume that what happens is that Mia stays in the present
Right.
and
William
becomes the new Green Arrow and is just running around having fun adventures.
You think William dies in Crisis?
I don't think they'll do that. That kind of makes it end kind of on a sour note for Oliver. I think they're going to give Oliver a happy ending.
That's true.
Yeah, Oliver's kids are so integral to like why he's
Doing
Fighting.
this.
Yeah.
fighting.
That's a
at
good
all.
point.
Like it wouldn't make sense from a storytelling perspective to just kill
and
him.
that's the other thing, is we know, because the Monitor told him, because originally he had even said in that deal in Elseworlds, save Barry and Kara, but the universe requires a constant, so he gave himself up so that Barry and Kara. So it's...
Yeah, and Kara died in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, famously, like Flash and Supergirl both die in Crisis.
Yeah, I think it's going to be massive, and also the Paragons are interesting choices. Tom Welling, Superman, Black Lightning.
Yeah.
No, it's...
Well,
I'm excited.
Lex Luthor is one of them.
Yeah, and we also don't know...
You want to know what his test was?
What?
Chess, right?
Chess. Yes. He beat the Monitor at chess.
Oh, is that what it was?
I wonder what Black Lightning will be.
I don't know. I
This
haven't...
show hasn't even addressed it, I don't think.
Okay, so I'm loving Black Lightning Season 3.
Yeah.
Loving it. It's probably my favorite season so far.
Okay.
But I haven't watched the last 2 episodes, so I can't tell you.
Okay.
So
I think it's. I also we don't. There's other surprises we don't know yet because the Future newspaper did say that Reverse Flash ends up leading this army against Flash. I'm like. And he did say in the season finale last season, he said
the next crisis.
And so it's like Reverse Flash is somehow involved.
He has to be.
We don't know.
Yeah. Why wouldn't
it's been something that's kind of like been written. It's been written since season 1, and that also has been hyped up for so long.
It's going to be a twist. They're not. Something's going to be involved there. Have they even explained how he still even technically exists? After Legends,
it is. It's the same way that Flash still exists. So it's like, Reverse Flash is basically immune to paradoxes.
Oh, okay.
So like,
the version of him that died in Legends is just another version.
Yeah, he's
it's from a different future.
I really really like Tom Cavanaugh as Reverse Flash. I don't want to take anything away from that, but I do really want Matt Letcher back. I think it would be very fitting, given that what I would be cool with is if this version of Flash, or like the crisis sort of ends, quote unquote, with the first scene at the beginning of Flash, where
the Reverse
Flash kills Barry's mom.
Oh, that would
be kind of wild. As if
then I'd be really tricked that he's about to die.
Yeah, like it doesn't end with Barry proper dying, but it ends with Nora dying.
Man, that's and
Flash vanishes into the past to be the Flash that season 1 Barry sees during the fight.
Yeah. Well, doesn't that Barry also, the one that says, like, don't do this during Flashpoint?
Yeah.
That Barry got erased, didn't he?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I know. The timeline is so confusing.
That was such a
misuse of Flashpoint.
To go back, I remember that Legends message.
Mm.
Like,
oh, yeah.
What?
Well, after this, so that Flash will no longer exist, right?
What?
The one from the Legends missions and Invasion. That Flash, that future no longer exists.
Yeah.
Okay, and the future with Nora that Nora knew when she came back no longer exists.
Yeah.
Because Cicada didn't come back that early. So, I guess that means that Barry could die because Nora wouldn't have to exist yet.
Right.
Yeah. So, like the, I think the explanation for Reverse Flash is that, like, he's time traveled so much that he's just immune
There's versions of him all over the multiple.
Yeah, like he doesn't. He exists outside of time now, so he just like travels to and from different time periods.
Yeah. I think it'd be really cool if we got them both on the same screen.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
I think that would be cool to have both Tom Cavanaugh and Matt Letcher just look at each other and just like do this grin. Or it's like a all part of the plan type moment.
I would be cool with because you had the sort of mentor student relationship with Tom Cavanaugh's Reverse Flash. It'd be cool if Matt Letcher's Reverse Flash was the bad guy, and like the Reverse Flash and Tom Cavanaugh and Barry Allen are teaming up for.
And there's going to be some cool stuff that they're going to pull off, and like how in the first Avengers they were like or I guess they did this in all the Avengers movies. Yeah. What cool things between the heroes can we do? Like there's going to be a lightning thing with Black Lightning and Flash.
Mm-hmm. That would be cool.
That. Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to 3 different Supermen. I think it's really impressive that they got Tom Welling back.
Well, you got to keep in mind, in Tom Welling's world, all the other Justice League members exist. So he's seen a lot more than ever all these other characters have.
Oh, man. They're getting Justin Hartley as Green Arrow for...
I mean, they even had... Oh, wow.
Well, didn't they say there was, like, a scheduling conflict with This Is Us? That they weren't able to get him back?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I haven't heard about that. I would be very surprised if Justin Hartley didn't show up.
Yeah, me too.
Some fashion.
If somebody has deconfirmed themselves, I'm not believing.
Yeah, unless it's been outright stated that they are not going to be in this. Like we know, Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor is not going to be in this.
Even then, though, I still feel.
I feel like they're messing with us.
I feel like they're messing with us.
I would love to see Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne pop up.
Ooh, I would love that.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
If they just got
can they get Michael Keaton? That's the question.
I mean, he's expensive, but he's not like a Jason Momoa or a Christian Bale.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Does he have any big film going on right now that we don't know about? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And he
loves Batman. He talks about it all
I
the
think
time.
if he was asked, I think he probably would come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Just don't bring back
What
George
else?
Clooney. George Clooney wouldn't even do it if he had.
Yeah.
Gosh, no! If George
Did you
Clooney
hear?
came,
Did you hear George Clooney like apologize?
Yeah, I did.
He's
I heard
just
Joel
like,
Schumacher
it was
did
bad. I wanna say too. Like you mentioned that you were loving Black Lightning season 3. I loved this first half of Flash.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was
like
great.
I think it was excellent.
And the season of Arrow has been good. That episode that like with Quentin and they had like the time loop thing.
Groundhog
That was
Day
a great episode.
That was such a good
And
episode.
it was so great to see Paul Blackthorne back because he's great.
Like Arrow has done such a good job of like getting the legacy cast members back for this season. Like it's really cool.
Oh, and they did announce that Ragnan, Rory Regan's going to be back in the finale.
Oh, good! I was just thinking about that the other day.
Like
he'll be there, and then they really the only character they weren't able to bring back is Deathstroke. Which whatever happened to Deathstroke? Did they explain that?
He was in an episode in season 6, and it was meant to be like, oh, he's the new Q.
Yeah.
He's like the reverse Flash of Arrow, but then he just never
came back.
Because Manu Bennett's a busy guy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why. It actually ties back into the DC movies.
They were going to use him.
They were going to use Deathstroke.
Yeah. And then they have Deathstroke and Titans.
So they gave Manu Bennett's Deathstroke a slight ending.
Kind of.
So, yeah, and that's why I say slight ever so because I think they want to bring him back, and I think he's coming back.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't in like the Arrow episode of Crisis or something like that.
I think he might also pop up in the finale.
Yeah, I think he's more going to show up in the finale. I think
series finale.
And I think he's only going to be a cameo this time.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be.
Because from what I remember, didn't they say like he and Oliver were no longer enemies or something like that?
Yeah.
And so like, isn't it his son is the one who creates the Deathstrokes in the future?
Yeah.
So I think they've kind of said, oh well, we're no longer enemies, so we don't have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
I'm pumped.
I kind of hate how I have to wait like a month before we get the true finale of it.
Yeah, I wonder what there's all sorts of ideas floating around about what that could mean.
Because I don't think it's a production thing.
What?
Yeah, it's definitely not a production thing.
No, we're only waiting 2 weeks after Crisis is the series finale.
No, I'm talking about like between episodes of Crisis.
Between episode 3 and 4 of Crisis.
Well, did you see the most recent announcement?
No.
They're releasing a 2-part comic book series of Crisis.
Of like what happens between those episodes?
Of what happens between episode 2 and 3.
Really?
So there's a time jump. Interesting.
Is there a time jump, or is there like
I don't know.
Like a mini story? We have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
We'll see starting Sunday.
Yes, Sunday with Batwoman, right?
Yeah, Supergirl, right? I thought it was Supergirl.
Yeah, it's Supergirl.
But
they switched Batwoman to Monday for the...
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter which show. It's just a time slot, because from what I can at least see, it's not really good. It'll probably just have the title card at the beginning.
Right.
But or maybe not. Maybe they'll just do Crisis.
It's Crisis. I think they've pretty much solidified that this week with their end credit scenes of sort, and it just goes to be continued on.
I would love to
get... It's the same thing with Crisis on Earth X, right?
Right. Yeah. And then didn't Invasion... No, Invasion didn't do that.
No, Invasion didn't. Elseworlds did a little bit of a different thing, I think. Like
Elseworlds went Elseworlds, and then it flipped over to be continued on Arrow.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Or Flash, or whatever.
I think they'll probably still do that at the end of each episode, like to be continued on blank next. But I think I would also love to see a Blu-ray of just like all of these episodes edited together without like the title cards. Just
that'd be cool.
You know what? Blake Neely tweeted out this morning.
What did he do?
Or last night, I saw it this morning.
Blake Neely, composer for all these shows.
He tweeted out this morning, he goes, I can't wait for Crisis on Infinite Earths this weekend. We have a lot of special musical guests with us this time around.
Odds that Hans Zimmer.
I think we're getting John Williams, and I think we're getting Danny Elfman.
I was going to say Danny Elfman's Batman theme is going to be in here. It's going to pop up when Kevin Conroy's on screen. It's going to happen.
That's an exciting.
That's prospect. Like my number one want.
Well, and the other wild card is we know Burt Ward is in this.
Burt Ward is also
the original Robin.
Oh yeah.
But in the cast it says Burt Ward as Burt Ward. So I'm like, what does that mean?
Probably they just didn't want to give it away.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be cool if we get like this Legends gag where they're like, to the Wave Rider.
I can see that happening.
That would be cool.
Well, and
I would only allow that in the Legends episode.
And I think there's a possible that it's going to start off with a death. I think Ray Palmer doesn't make it. I think he's because we know he's not coming back for the rest of the season, right?
He's in the Legends episode.
Did you see the Legends trailer that dropped yesterday?
There's a Legends.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There was a Legends trailer that dropped yesterday and showed like a couple clips of Crisis.
Brandon Routh as Mr. Rogers.
Well, and then it cut to him being Mr. Rogers. Well, it was kind of a troll.
Is it this season or next season that he's not coming back for?
It's this season. I think he's there for most of the season. I think he dies halfway through.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking like that explains. There's gonna be something with the Atom though that explains because he can't. I would like to see him on screen with Superman at the same time, like his Superman, but logistically that's kind of hard to do.
Oh yeah.
On a TV budget.
I mean, they've done.
Nah, man, Doctor Who did it.
Well, but that's also Doctor Who.
But there's been several Legends episodes where they're facing like other versions of the...
Well, I'm saying
Crisis on Earth X.
Well, I'm saying this compared to the rest of the budget of everybody else they had to get, because this is probably the highest, like the most expensive one they've done. We are almost at 3 hours.
We are almost at 3 hours, so we're gonna shut up.
So this is Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, right?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I believe it's Monday, Tuesday, January 14th and 15th. Yeah.
So when we do our next episode, we will have seen Crisis, our last episode of the semester. We will have seen the first 3, won't we?
Well,
you're holding off.
I'm holding off because I'm watching them all at once.
Yeah.
Okay, so we
next Friday.
I might watch them just to troll Caleb.
So yeah, well, do we want to say what the plan is for the final episode of the semester?
Yes, so the final episode of the semester and also the final episode of 2019.
And of the 2010.
We are going to be doing our... Well, we probably won't be covering news because Game Awards will be airing probably the night the final episode releases.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so
yes. But what we will have is I will make all of these guys make a top 10 of 2019
in movie,
list.
TV, and games.
Yes.
Okay.
And
all of that combined,
or music, or whatever.
Combined or individually?
Combined.
Ooh,
okay,
that's gonna be difficult.
Yeah,
that's going to be a little bit.
Although
hard.
maybe we could do individually.
I was going to say.
Well, actually, I haven't played much games.
And Ahmad wouldn't be able to fill out a games thing.
Well, and games will be difficult
like Jump Force.
Because there's some that I want to play that might be in my top 10 that I haven't yet. Like I know Death Stranding's probably going to end up there.
Well, so what we're going to do is because I am going to see Frozen 2 after we record that episode. So what we're gonna do is when we come back.
We'll see if anything.
We will amend anything.
Well, because of the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I was going to say Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker, Death Stranding,
and the rest of Mandalorian.
Yeah, exactly. So we won't be bottlenecked into these are our opinions, but we will bring back the guessing game because that was fun.
That was fun.
I don't think Caleb hasn't played the guessing game yet.
Oh, it's Ahmad tends to get a little bit frustrated.
He does get a little frustrated. I mean, we all get a little frustrated when we play the guessing game.
Granted, it's just not, like there's no prize. It's just
we just keep score, and sometimes Ahmad trounces me, and sometimes I trounce him.
And most of the time, I have a lot of sneakiness in my
Sawyer
is it a guessing game of the top 10?
Oh, like
the way that it's gonna work is we're all going to bring our lists in paper format, or on your phones or computers or something. Do whatever. Sawyer has to print out a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But So we're all going to bring those out. And then one by one, so we're going to start from 10. We'll probably start with you. Or no, Ahmad sits there, so we're going to start with Ahmad. And left, we're going clockwise. Ahmad will start with his 10th. We all try to guess. And then I tally who got it right, who didn't get it right. And I think the way that I tallied it was that, like, if nobody guesses it, whoever, like, Ahmad would get a point for it. But if one person guesses it, they get a point. Ahmad doesn't, and whatever. So it's gonna be a fun game. That's not gonna be the whole show.
It might end up being the whole show. We'll see.
It might end up being the whole show. But
I think it'd be fun though.
It'll be fun. We'll all have a good time. And spoilers: 2019 was both good and bad.
It was a lot of stuff.
There was a lot of stuff that I feel things about.
I feel like I'm going to be slightly predictable, but also unpredictable at the same time.
If you have paid attention on the podcast, I've been predictable. But
I was gonna say
if you haven't paid attention, it's going to come out of left field.
I was going to say we should also do a top 10 worst, but I don't really pay to see bad movies, so I can't
Yeah,
really...
same here. Like, I don't really have a top 10 worst.
I mean, I could say things that I did not like, but that's not the worst.
Yeah.
Meh.
I agree.
We'll be positive. We positive on the Lab Rats.
Oh, and then we should also... I can say it on here anyway. We should do, at some point, what are we most excited for in 2020? Maybe that's our first episode back. I don't know. We'll see. But we're also...
We will find out.
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing that we should do decade in review.
Yeah, that'd be...
But that would be a long...
That takes some
That
work.
would be long.
Yeah.
But that would be much more fun of a guessing game, too.
Yes.
I think.
Oh,
Best
man.
of the decade is The Last Jedi. What's the name of this? Like,
Imagine me putting The Last Jedi at
It's
the top
number
of that
one.
list.
I would just walk out. Like, just no words, just walk out. I can't.
This podcast is over. That's it. That last episode.
It wouldn't happen anyways. Maybe Last Jedi is number 10 on that list, but like...
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith. No, that's not. It was 2005. Never mind.
Revenge of the Sith.
I put it up.
Imagine Ahmad putting Spider-Man 3 at the top of his. I would absolutely throw the table over and walk out if he did.
Scooby-Doo 2: Monsters Unleashed.
See, I would be okay with that.
That was 2002. That doesn't even count. It's like 15 years before. I can't do that.
Yeah. So, as I said at the beginning of the episode. Please be excited.
It'll be a good time. It'll be the last episode until like end of January, unless we do something for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we might do an individualized thing for Rise of Skywalker. We'll see.
There might be something for Death Stranding for myself. I guess.
Yes,
I know for myself, I'm going to be covering
Crisis.
Well, actually, I shouldn't have said that. We don't know yet.
Okay.
Don't know yet.
We will see.
Plans are not solidified.
Yes.
You guys know how this show works by this point.
Yes.
There's no solidified.
We fly by the seat of our pants. We didn't know Ahmad wasn't coming until like 15 minutes before.
I did. But
oh, you did.
Yeah,
but
he told me in the lab yesterday.
Oh man. But yeah, we fly by the seat of our pants around here. So if we say something, there's probably a 50% chance that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Or it's just, hey, this would be cool, but we never actually end up doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a history of that.
As you can hear, my voice is gone.
Also, thanks for listening for a year.
No?
Yeah.
It's kind of our 1 year anniversary. It was like at the start of the semester, and we never mentioned it.
Right.
It would start the start of the semester would have been.
Yeah. So as we end as we lap ourselves, thank you for listening for so long. And
we had an interesting. We brought on a fourth member.
We had a lot of special guests.
Oh yeah.
We changed the news format
for a better, I think.
Yeah, for the better. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of changes came to.
I'm
We should just go another 14 minutes and hit 3 hours. We can hit that milestone. We should just
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
All right,
Let's do it.
let's talk about
let's-
Crisis.
Let's you know, I wanna hear what.
Let me formulate this in my head for a second.
Best discussion, you think? Or favorite discussion?
favorite discussion / episode
of the year or
of
of all time?
Since we changed the Catacast to the Lab Rats.
For me, I think when we did the Spider-Man PS4 discussion,
Yes,
it's probably one of my favorites.
Probably.
When was that?
That was like Thanksgiving last year.
Yeah.
Did I do that?
I think you were.
Yeah,
on
I think that was my
episode,
first
yeah.
episode.
Yeah, that was your first. Yeah, that was a good time. That was just our Spider-Man special, I believe.
Yeah, because I had
we did our Spider-Man movie special before that.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too.
But that was the Catacast. That's
right.
There was what else?
I'm trying to think.
The Joker one was great.
Yeah, the Joker one was.
That
cool.
one was a fun one.
That was a fun sort of impromptu episode.
And then we were like, do we want to wait for next week? We're like, we'll just do it now. Let's just.
Let me like. My head is so scrambled right now.
What about you, Caleb? What are some of your
Caleb,
favorites?
what do you think?
Well, actually,
I know you weren't on as many for like the whole year.
One of my favorite episodes I wasn't on. It was when you guys had one of you. It was in June, and it was like, or it was late June, and it was like a month had gone by
and
since
we
the
hadn't
last
done a
episode,
podcast.
and like you guys had such a great energy, and it was such a fun podcast to listen to. I was laughing. It was I don't know necessarily what you guys talked about, but it was.
We were probably doing our E3 predictions.
It was.
It might have been that one.
I think it was that one.
I
It
feel
was
bad for
refreshing.
not knowing.
I felt bad. Every time we talk about video games on this show, I feel bad for Ahmad because he's just like, I don't know anything about this.
It's like I played FIFA.
I played FIFA and I just played Jump Force, and that's Ahmad's gaming catalog.
We're trying to scheme our way into
Yes.
getting Ahmad into more gaming.
Yes.
But he's also a busy dude.
So
Yeah.
he's a very busy.
Speaking of which, Ahmad, he's a true film student because he's
Yes.
shooting multiple movies.
He's shooting multiple movies, and he actually pays attention to movies, unlike me.
So that's why he hasn't been able. I don't want to like speak for him, but like that explains why he's still an official member. I don't want to be like he's Ahmad leaving. He's still an official member. He's just a busy dude. Lots of films.
Yes. We talked about this at the beginning of the semester. Like he's so busy that like he can't be on super consistently. But
as far as we know, he's going to be on the final of the semester when we record it.
Unless something comes up, expect him on the show next week.
And then we can hopefully. Okay, so I should just go ahead and say here's my plan for 2019 stuff I'm going to cover over winter break.
Okay.
I'm going to cover Control, Remedy's game. It's one of the fewer Remedy games I have not played.
All right.
Devil May Cry 5, as well as all the other Devil May Cry games.
Devil May Cry.
Vader Immortal, the 3-part VR series.
Yes.
Got my Oculus Rift to play it on that.
Speaking of Darth Vader being a force of nature.
Exactly. What else was there?
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, obviously, is going to be one of those. I want to see The Lighthouse if I get a chance. Rise of Skywalker, obviously. The Mandalorian, The Watchmen HBO show, Crisis. Yeah, I mean, that about covers most of the 2019 stuff.
And maybe you can catch my reactions to the Game Awards. Yeah. Probably not.
See, I have, for me, I don't want to say anything because I have some ideas.
But you don't know if you can actually do them?
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Well, I know I could do them, but there's just some other stuff that I'm like, I need to solidify before I say anything. Yeah. So you guys will find out probably next week.
On the finale of the Lab Rats podcast
right.
for 2019.
Finale of season 3, I think? 4?
Depends. So this would be season... So this would be season 2 of the Lab Rats because we relaunched in beginning of 2019.
I'm looking it up on our YouTube right now.
Catacat. This would be season 3 if we count the Catacast.
Let me look it up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So this is technically season 2 of the Lab Rats, I believe.
Okay, so we've got... This is season 3, Lab Rats season 2.
Wait, you put seasons on this?
On the YouTube, I don't always update them. Like, season 3 has not been updated at all.
Okay.
But season 1 is the old Catacast episodes, fall 2018 to winter 2018. Season 2 was the start of Lab Rats, spring 2019 to summer 2019. And season 3 is fall 2019 to now.
I like your season titles of these.
Lab Rats continues.
Season 1, old Catacast episode. Season 2, the start of Lab Rats, and season 3, Lab Rats continues.
I
like
thought
that.
about doing it with Star Wars, like the Phantom Catacast.
If we ever get those Phantom episodes back somehow, you have to.
Oh man, I wish we had those Phantom episodes.
Some of those Phantom episodes were so good.
That one where we did where Lamad first talked about Scooby-Doo was one of the best episodes we ever did.
Unironically, it was an excellent show.
Yeah, it was like, and of course we lost that, but that was, man.
It was so good.
Also, we have to say, just for the memories of it, the fact when we did the first one, I think it was either the first or the second one Caleb was on. Was it your second one? We talked about it earlier, where literally we got interrupted like.
Oh yeah, it was
one. Yeah. We had that. I think we were still the Catacast by this point, and we were talking about Star Wars Rebels, and mid sentence, fire alarm goes off, and we're just like. Oh,
and not to mention all the people knocking on the door during our recording.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The Offenhauer was not really the best space for recording a podcast.
Yeah.
But we did it, we powered through, and now we're in Sawyer's dorm.
And after this, Ezra will only have, what, one semester left as a lab rat?
I have one semester left probably as a permanent member of the lab rats.
Other than a guest. And hey, Caleb, how many more? You're not a senior, right?
I'm a junior.
Junior, okay.
Yes,
so you and Ahmad have at least a little bit more.
Yes, Caleb and Ahmad have one more year. I will probably pass off my hosting duties to Caleb.
By the time I become a senior, it's just gonna be me talking to my phone. It's just
It's gonna be you by yourself.
Just me.
No, we gotta rotate people. Like if I leave, you gotta find the new Caleb.
It'll just me.
Caleb's gonna become Ezra, and so you gotta find a new Caleb.
Well, we've had plenty of guests who would be good replacements.
Yes.
Well, not replacements, but new.
I think so too.
You've got
new members. Yeah,
new members.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe my favorite part of this season so far is we've had so many different people come on with varying opinions and
they're all interesting guests. They're all great people,
and getting their perspectives on things that I would say the four of us tend to be fairly consistent in what we like and what we don't like, and so to have somebody like Tyler this episode or like
when Anna came on, that was great.
Anna,
Matt, Lucas,
when Matt, Lucas, like all these people come on and bring their unique perspectives. That's a really great thing to see, and I'm glad that we got to do that, and hopefully Xavier will come back and we'll steal 45 minutes again from an episode.
Let us know if you're a BG student and you listen to this, if you yourself or somebody you know would be a good guest on the show.
Oh yeah.
Tweet at us.
If there's a topic you want us to talk about, I think that's...
Oh yeah.
And you don't even have to tweet. You can just come up to me when I'm working in the lab and say, hey, can I come on the podcast? And I go, sure, how's this day at this time?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes, so please do that. We are a hub for interesting entertainment discussion.
We've already got a couple lined up for next semester.
We do.
Do we?
We do. I will talk about that off air. But we have a couple lined up. That'll be pretty good.
Again, please be excited.
Yeah. We've got some interesting... Nobody famous.
Nobody famous.
Yes.
All right.
Turns out we get Ryan Johnson.
there was one I was looking at. He is a YouTube person that who lives in Toledo. And I was like, that could be possible. But otherwise, no, it's nobody famous.
Okay.
That's a little tease there. I'll see if you know any entertainment YouTubers who live in Toledo, Ohio.
Is it perfect?
I feel like I'm being tested here.
We will talk about that off air.
We'll talk about it off air. We're not giving it away.
Especially since it hasn't even been. I've just been like, that'd be cool. I've never even met somebody.
Yeah. So, I guess I have to think of like a favorite discussion so far of like seasons 2 through 3 of the podcast
of the Lab Rats era.
Yes. I have to say I think I guess I have 2 highlights. One where Xavier and I talked about Pokemon for 45 minutes while Sawyer sat awkwardly.
I was just like,
I felt very bad for Sawyer, but I was having too much fun talking about.
Yeah, Pokemon. I was like, I mean, I've done that with stuff before too.
Yeah,
but I was like,
it is something that has come up a lot in discussion about the podcast like basically since its inception was like people like. I don't know much about indie movies. Ahmad doesn't know that much about games. Like, you don't know that much about, like, anime and, like...
or JRPGs, really.
Yeah, or JRPGs and stuff like that. And so, like, sometimes discussion comes up that somebody is just sort of left out of because of the topic. Mm-hmm. And
but it's also good that we get to have all these different perspectives to introduce new stuff to people that they may not know about. Like, and, I mean, if I wouldn't have even known about Parasite if it wasn't for Matt and Ahmad.
Yeah. So, same here. And, like, I think that's actually, like, it's unfortunate that sometimes not everybody can be a part of every discussion. Mm-hmm. But I do think that I think that bringing variety onto the show is important. And I don't think we would have had such an in-depth discussion about Pokemon if Xavier hadn't been here. Because he knows... Like, I like Pokemon a lot, but he knows so much more about it than I do in terms of, like, the tech and the world and sort of what he looks into in terms of that stuff. So to have somebody like that, and then, you know, like, again, to have Matt on, who's, like, seen all of these movies that you and I haven't seen, but Ahmad has. And I think that's a real strength of the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad that we can continue to keep doing that.
And that made me also think of favorite discussion was when Ahmad and we brought up samurai films and westerns, and we compared westerns and samurai.
Yeah, the good and the bad and the ugly episode.
Yeah, he brought up good, bad, and the ugly, and we talked about how samurai films and westerns have a lot of similar history, and that was a really interesting discussion.
Yeah, I'll say I think really any time we talk about Spider-Man, I think the show's at its best, and I'm not just Spider-Man. And I'm not just saying that that like us yelling at each other about Spider-Man 3 is the best part of the show. I think that we all have varying perspectives on all of the movies.
Yes,
I don't think any of our opinions are the same. Like I think you and I have a different opinion on Amazing Spider-Man 2. You and I Caleb and I have a different opinion. Ahmad and I have a different opinion. You guys differ from each other.
Right.
Like I think that it's the. I will say you guys are a little too uniform on the original trilogy.
Oh my gosh!
But like
okay.
No, you all basically feel the same way about the original.
That is pretty true. We all pretty much feel the same.
Okay. I get it now.
There's nobody lukewarm on the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about original Star Wars. It was like, yeah, we all love those movies.
Yeah. No. I'm talking the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody here except for me is lukewarm on the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I have some issues with the pacing of Spider-Man 3, but I still enjoy it. That's a topic for a different discussion.
Yeah, no, we're not going into that. Yeah. And
anybody want to go for hour number 4?
Yeah. I think.
I mean, as you can probably tell, my voice is pretty much gone this week, so it's.
And I think I think this format that we had was really strong for getting everybody introduced to what we all know. Yeah. But I think as we go on, I think it's it's time for us to become a normal gaming podcast.
And I don't say that as in we're going to kick movies and TV out. I think if we do some more things with like today, we went for an hour on news and an hour on on topics, and then an hour on crisis. And I think that I think we can do some more stuff with helping the discussion be a little bit more generalized and not just like, okay, Sawyer has 10 minutes.
Go. Yeah.
He has 10 minutes to talk about whatever
Right.
sci-fi thing he wants to talk about.
That's
like,
something else I want to bring back is the Sawyer's random sci-fi.
Yeah,
corner.
like I think if we had segments on the show that aren't just like, okay, we're doing news topics.
Yeah. I do say we need to keep the news though. The news.
Yeah. No. I think I think we keep the news segment, but like, if you ever listen to any other sort of big format discussion show, you notice that that what they do is they have news up front typically, and then they sort of have a list of topics that they go through. Right. They don't just sort of have everybody sort of loosey-goosey bring in their own things. Yeah. They actually sort of vet various topics for their show. And I think, I'm thinking about ways that we can improve this show by doing something maybe a little similar to that in terms of, like, I go to Caleb and ask, like, hey, is there anything you want to talk about this week? Instead of just like letting everybody come in and have 10 minutes to themselves, which I think is good for getting everybody introduced to us as a cast, and I think that like it helps us cement what we know about each other in terms of what we like and dislike. I think now we can start to transition a little bit more.
Well, and as long as we keep our general unprofessionalism.
Yes, as long as we do not be professional, we're good.
As long as we stay.
Spoiler alert: there's a whole set of food that we will be eating while also trying to guess next week.
Oh man,
I would like to do that.
That'd be kind of cool. Like there's like a punishment or something, and it's like some sort of
you have to eat some weird food if you don't get it right or something.
Yeah,
if you get it right, you get to have like a piece of cake or something.
I think that's an interesting idea.
I don't think
we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we already had our Joker and Gushers discussion.
Yes. So
we need to do that with Rise of Skywalker. Just eat a bunch of like like Star Wars mac and cheese or whatever. You know how like you remember that from childhood? Like they had mac and cheese.
I always ate the Pokemon mac and cheese.
It was SpongeBob.
We're
and Spider-Man.
We are 3 hours in. We did not mean for this to happen, but
we're not really good at time management on the show.
No, we're not.
Thank you, Tyler, for guest starring.
Again, thanks. I like that Tyler was like he was gonna leave, and then we were gonna go for like maybe another half hour, and then we went for another whole hour.
It was it was a good episode.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for a great fall 2019
of the last like non-special episode of the Lab Rats for the semester.
And
with that,
Sawyer, can you?
I gotta.
You gotta do the thing.
All right, you can find us at CastKate at CastCate on Twitter, but you can find us just by looking at the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast. Our man Caleb is the one who's now handling the Twitter.
So ask him everything.
So ask him all the questions.
Yes.
Don't ask me for
and
anything.
I promise to be more active.
Anything else you want to say about Twitter?
Follow
him on
not
Twitter.
Yet.
Follow it. Do it. We also have an Instagram that we never post on, which is just at the Lab Rats Podcast.
If you want to follow us on there and make us an Instagram influencer, thumbs up.
And you can find us wherever you're listening now, in addition to Spotify, Google Play Music / Google Podcasts, whatever it's called now, Stitcher, Podbean, YouTube, and Apple.
Yes. 6 platforms.
Yes.
Counted.
And if there's any more you would like us to be on that are easier for you, please let us know, as long as it is free.
Yes, as long as it is free
and doesn't require another $100.
And if it's, we will also never have an episode where we're going to charge for the episode. We won't.
Yeah, we're never charging for the episode. If there is any monetization,
it's not.
It is from a sponsor.
Yeah.
We won't charge. We don't charge. We just get people.
We just take people's money.
we say things for money is how it works.
Well, and I mean, also, it's not as easy now that we've marked our show as explicit. It's not as easy, but that's a whole other topic.
That is a whole other management thing.
Yeah, that's the one other change that the audience should know about is.
Oh yeah.
Not every episode you may have noticed that our that our show is now labeled as explicit on multiple platforms. Specifically, I know it is on Apple. I don't know about the others.
Yeah, like the whole thing is explicit now.
Because
this episode is absolutely explicit.
But for those of you who don't know, for some reason on these platforms, you can't, at least from what I've been able to see, mark individual episodes as explicit. It's either all or nothing. Mm-hmm. And so, even though it is marked that way, typically our show will be largely clean. It also depends on the guest because we do not like to censor our guests. We want them to be able to be them. Yeah.
So when somebody like Tyler comes on and swears up a storm,
but we love having all of our guests. And we want them to be them. So that is why typically, even though it is marked as explicit, we will try and keep the show as safe for work as possible,
family friendly,
unless we have a guest that would like to. Yes. Typically, the four of us do not swear on this show.
No,
typically, unless. You know, when we get to, if I talk about Halloween Resurrection again, that might
unless we talk about Spider-Man 3 again.
Oh, Spider-Man 3 might set us off. Well, if the Rise of Skywalker, there's a chance that could have chance. Okay, well,
I'm not looking forward to that Rise of Skywalker.
It's either gonna be an amazing just us like Joker just going or it's just gonna be us just ranting. But
it's probably gonna be half and half is what's gonna happen.
I can see it right now. You being like, I love this movie. Me going.
Just kidding, right? I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate.
And Amal will be like, I thought that was good.
Amal didn't like The Last Jedi.
Okay, so Amal will be on my side. He's probably just won't have the same amount of rage that I will.
Yes.
We'll see. Anyway, with that,
bye. Bye.